Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live. We got a jam-packed stream for you guys today. Sorry it's going live a little bit late. I had to put some prep work in with the picks against the spread graphics and then a couple other things that we want to go over in this stream. So welcome in. We will be going over picks against the spread. We will be talking about some defensive things. Dan Meringue posted a Twitter question that we're going to respond to. It's not going to be like us, calling out media or anything. We're actually going to respond to it and kind of explain our answer to it. We're going to look at a snapshot of the last play and talk about that a little bit. We're going to preview the Blazers versus the Rockets. We're also going to go over today's NBA action, which I think was kind to the Blazers, and I'll explain why when we get there. So we got a pretty jam-packed episode. Going to let people slowly filter in because we're going to start off with picks against the spread, but I want a few more people in here before we jump into that. We only had 4 of the 6 games for tomorrow because 2 of the games didn't have spreads, so there was really no way to do those games. So we just kind of skipped over them. What's up, Hamza? What's up, Mark? What's up, Kyle Wilson? What's up, Codename Ace? Damian Muniz.
Hamza, you're so funny. You just told me on Twitter you weren't going to come on, but okay.
He trolled you, bro. You got trolled.
I know. Oh, man. Such a burn.
Once we hit 20 viewers, I will start picks against the spread. Then I will go over the watch party, which might end up being postponed. We will talk about that after picks against the spread. And I'll also talk about how I'm handing out tickets and that sort of thing. So, how's your guys' day going? Let me know in chat. My day's kind of been hectic. I'm still trying to wrap my brain together. I've been scramble-brained all day. You guys ever have that day where you're just scramble-brained, just kind of frazzled by everything? Like that was me today. That was me trying to put together these graphics. That was me realizing that I lost a headbutt, which is one of the worst things to ever have happen to you. It's underrated in terms of how annoying it is. So I gotta find that. Hopefully somewhere around here. Looking for those things aren't fun. Yeah. Why is there no Discord post? I did post a Discord post.
There's no.
Is there no?
That's weird.
Why is it all red? The text that I posted is red. I don't know why. Is there nothing there for this?
There's
stream?
Nothing there. Yeah, I got you.
No, I got it.
Okay.
This is what it showed up as. Stream going live soon. It was in red, so I guess that didn't post.
Didn't send or something.
But there we go. There we go. I was wondering why I wasn't filling up as fast as I'm used to. Kyle Wilson says, had to get tested for COVID due to a nasty cough I've developed the past week or so. Thankfully, it came back negative. We'll be doing my best to keep distance and masked for a while, though. Yeah, that's good that you tested negative. But, if you still have to quarantine and stuff, if I'm a young person, I'd almost rather have it just to potentially have some immunity for a while. If you're going to be okay. I don't know. So that you don't have to worry about getting it, but then that's not 100% certain that you even get immunity. So,
well, it's coming out now that more people than not are having lung issues long term versus So even though if you were completely asymptomatic, you're still having long term issues. But
that's definitely not something you want to deal with. So. We're at 19 viewers. I'm going to jump into picks against the spread. We're going to start off with our records, which everybody is tied. These are our records on, Friday? Because we had Blazers Uprise Live on Thursday. Yeah, so this is based on the games Friday. Chat went 6-1. Me and Eric went 4-3. And now we're all tied at 188 to 174, which is crazy. We will put together a bet on this. I want to do something where if Eric wins, then I have to do something. If I win, then Eric has to do something. And if chat wins, both of us have to do something. Something like that. I'm kind of blank on bet ideas, though. Leave your bet ideas in the comment section. Maybe there's something you guys have on your mind that we can do. Is Trevin in here? And is Westbrook in here? I don't think Westbrook is in here. Trevin should be in here.
Hey, sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry.
All right. Go and do whatever. I'll just leave it on the picks against the spread thing. Eric has to get out for a second, I guess. But, I want 2 people. Let me pull it. I'll just pull it back here. I want 2 people to count. 1 to count for the team on top, 1 to count for the team on bottom, if that makes sense, for chat's votes. So, Trevin, I want you to count for the team on top. There will be 2 teams. I want you to count for the team on top. If both of you lose, you have to videotape a live one-on-one of Tori versus Eric, loser by strengths. I've already beat Eric one-on-one like the 3 times I played him. But we can't meet up, and we're both going to be super rusty. So I was thinking about, I don't know. Meeting up would be tough. I was thinking something we could do just like by ourselves. It's not a bad idea, though. Who wants to count the team on bottom? Who wants to count the team on bottom for chat's votes? I figure that'll be the easiest way to do it. When I have moderators, it will be pretty easy to do. If I had 2 moderators that were in here every stream, or most streams. So Trevin gonna count on top. I don't know what's up with Derek. I don't know what's going on. Blazers 2 games behind 8 seed. I will go over that. When we address the NBA action. So who wants to count along with Trevin? Who wants to help me out? Man, I'm just supposed to sit here and stall, I guess. I guess that is... I don't know. I'm stalling. Because I want to jump into it, but I can't do it without Eric. LeBum is old and AD can't pass out of the double team successfully. LeBum ain't playing like his old, man. I wish he was playing like his age, but he's still playing very, very well. I'll count. Yeah, Sanji. Sorry if I said your name wrong. You count the team on bottom. So you'll see what I mean, because I got, one name on top, one name on bottom. Trevin, count the team on top. Sanji, count the team on bottom. Just count the votes in chat. I think that would probably be the easiest way to do it. What's up, Dion? Long time since I've been on a stream. What's good? I'm good. I don't know what's up with Eric, but Eric had to bow out for a second. I have no idea why, so I'm just stalling and waiting for him, Dion, out. I don't know what's going on. 76ers saved our butt today. Hey, Shake Milton, man. Good old Shake Milton. We'll go over that game. What's up, Chris? Sorry, I'm stalling for y'all. If this was something where we were already talking about basketball, I wouldn't have to stall. But since I'm trying to start picks against the spread, I gotta wait for Eric for that segment. So if you're just tuning in, I'll go back to the picks against the spread records. We're all tied. That's insane. Let me do some quick math at how many games we've bet on. We've bet on 362 games, and all 3 of us are tied. I am not making that up. That's insane. So we're getting into the stretch run. Only a few more days left of picks against the spread. I want to put a very good bet together. And, that's, okay. All right, Eric, do you want me to just go through your picks without you coming back then, or what? Were you happy Memphis lost? Yeah, I'll get into it. We're going to recap the games. We'll recap the games. Dion said he also started DoorDashing this week. What location are you DoorDashing in? And I can help you with some tips, man. Dion, are you on... Well, Eric, if you're going to be back in a minute, I'll just stall for another minute. Dion, are you on Discord, man? If you're on Discord, you should message me, because I can give you some tips and some advice if you want. I will post a Discord link in chat for anybody who's not in our Discord and wants to join it. I haven't been super active there lately. I need to be more active there. Just had a lot going on, and I work every day. DoorDash, man, that DoorDash life. Tuna salad is a good spread. I hate seafood. I will never eat seafood. Idaho Falls, is that like a big suburban area? Is that small? Like, because like how you approach things depends on different places, depends on your market. So I live in Vancouver, Washington. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but I think it's definitely bigger than Idaho Falls. DoorDash greater than Postmates, 100%, man. 100%. Especially delivering for them, because Postmates, you gotta order the food for customers too much and you have to like pay. It's just weird. It's just extra hassle. DoorDash, you don't really have to do that. Every now and then you do, depending on what place you pick up from, but you can choose not to if you just decide not to pick up from those places. So that's what I do. So I never have to worry about that. Sun River, I'm not sure they even have it out there. I love Sun River though. I haven't been there since high school. Can Dion bring me food over? Yeah, you gonna get Dion to drive, what, 8 hours to deliver you food, man? You're gonna have to pay up. The only way I deliver food that far is if I get paid like a solid $500-$600. Even then, I'd do it for $500 or $600. But that's rough. Uber Eats greater than DoorDash? Nah, man. Nah. Not feeling that. So, still stalling for Eric. Still waiting for Eric. He said a minute. We're also going to go over a Terry Stotts interview in this stream. I'm going to play it. We're going to respond to some of the things he said. And kind of, I don't know. It was just a typical Terry Stotts interview, and I gotta go in on it a little bit. Eric kind of told me what he said. I haven't actually listened to it myself, but we'll do that on stream. Oh, God. Yeah, it was a typical Terry Stotts interview in response to that Boston Celtics game. Yo, it's Juju. DoorDash is king. What's up, man? Anybody who's just joining, I'm waiting on Eric to return. He had a little situation, and I'm just waiting on him to return. He said it'd be a minute. It's been like 3 minutes, so he lied to me, but yeah, we're just chilling for now. It's kind of weird rolling solo. When it comes to rolling solo, it's much easier if I'm talking about basketball instead of stalling like this, waiting for a segment to start, waiting for Eric to return. Because, man, I can talk about basketball all day. And Eric might not be able to be on the post-game show tomorrow. We'll kind of talk about his situation in a little bit. So I might be doing that solo. Honestly, like, it'd be interesting to run a post-game show solo for the first time in a while. I think this year, in 2020, Eric has done more solo streams than I have, to be honest. So I want to know what you guys think about our rotations, why we don't see Nasir. I don't know, man. I mean, Mario, like, he hasn't played well, but I'm not sure Nasir would be playing better than Mario is right now. Post-game stream, Tori back. What you mean, Trevin? What's up, Alvaro? I guess I should go over... Let's go over the watch party tickets. It might get postponed. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It's kind of... Eric has something that he's dealing with at the moment. So we'll talk about that later on. All right. Here we go. All right. I'll save that. Welcome back. Welcome back to the stream. You can't even hear it. Welcome back to the stream.
What's up? Sorry, guys.
Let's jump into the first game. Let's jump straight into it. If you're new, vote based off the spread in chat. This isn't a toss-up. It's based off the spread. So we got Boston favored by 3.5 points. We got 4 games. Since 2 of them didn't have spreads, I'm just going to hop straight into my pick. I am doubling down on the Boston Celtics. Miami played today, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're on a
Denver,
second day or night of a back-to-back. Boston played well against us. I just think Boston is the better team. 3.5 isn't a big spread. Miami's playing the second day in a row. I think Boston takes care of business here, wins by more than 3.5, and I'm doubling down on that game. So if you're new to this segment, if we double down, that means instead of counting as 1 win or 1 loss based on our pick, it counts as 2 wins or 2 losses. So the stakes are higher for this game. I have the most confidence in this pick out of the 4. That's why I'm doubling down on the Celtics. Eric, what you got?
Real quick, so I see Mark and Minnie Tooth voting twice. Please just only vote once, everyone, and try to keep the comments to just the games and the names that we're talking about. That way it's easier to count all the stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, so just vote once, please.
So what I'm taking... Let me just say something real quick. I have Trevin counting the team on top and Sanji counting the team on bottom. So Trevin's counting Celtics votes. Sanji is counting Heat votes. I figured that was the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, this one's pretty obvious. I don't think we really have to count for chat for this one because of how many Bostons it is. But what's your pick, Eric?
I'm taking the Heat. I expect Boston to win, but I'm kind of going to go away from this strategy later on. But I still believe that, and if the talent's close between two teams, I'm just going to take the points. And I'll keep going with that.
It's all good, Mark. It just makes it easier for us to count if it's only in chat once. I don't even see 2 posts from him, so maybe he deleted or something. I don't know. We'll talk about Melo versus Gary Trent Jr. Right now, we're doing picks against the spread, so we're not just going to answer random questions right now. So anyway, that is the picks for Game 1. Game 1. The stakes are high right now. It's the stretch run and everybody's tied. So let's jump into Game 2. We got the Phoenix Suns taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are favored by 9 points, which is a pretty large spread, but I think the Clippers have been playing well. The Phoenix Suns, I don't really have much confidence in their team, so I'm going to roll with the Los Angeles Clippers in this game. This was a hard one to pick, very hard one to pick, that's why I didn't double down on this one. 9 points is a large spread. Phoenix just beat Dallas, if my memory is correct.
Yeah, Phoenix is actually playing well.
Yeah, so this was definitely a hard game to pick, but the Clippers have been playing great. They just blew out the Pelicans, so I'm going to take the Clippers in this one.
Yeah, the Clippers now have a 1.5 game lead over Denver, but they still want to keep that number 2 spot because I'm pretty sure they want to play whoever finishes 7th in the playoffs. And definitely with with Houston winning their first couple games, they want to stay ahead of them as well. So I think Clippers are going to want to secure that number 2 seed and avoid playing the Lakers in round 2. So I'm going to take the Clippers in this one. And but yeah, this was a tough one to pick as well.
Yep. Looks like we got runaway Clippers in the chat. We haven't really had to rely on Trevin or Sanji to count anything because it's pretty obvious with the eyeball test here.
We still need accounts for the double down, though. True.
I think Boston was more heavily favored.
It was 17-4.
We might have to, if things are close, if things aren't obvious, I think we should just pick a random person to do the double down. If things aren't obvious, double down for chat. So anyway, moving on, we got chat with the Clippers as well. That looks kind of sick. Those logos all next to each other, kind of weaving in and out of each other. I didn't even mean to do it like that, but yeah, it looks pretty sick. So third game we got is our game. We got Portland versus Houston. Houston is favored by 5, and I don't want to go too far into this game since we are going to preview it later, right? So I'm not going to really go in depth here, but I am taking the Houston Rockets. The only thing I'm going to say on it is their strength is our biggest weakness. Eric, what do you got?
I'm going to take Portland. It's a bit of a homer pick, but 5-point spread, so I'm getting 5 points, and I like the way we've played against Houston in particular. We don't play that way against any other team for some reason, but we do try different things against Harden randomly. So I think in this one we will see.
Granted, we do have a good defender in those games. Now we're starting Melo.
Right, that's true.
So
So yeah, it's really tough, but I like the strategy of just letting Westbrook take
Don't go
over,
too much in depth.
and I'm gonna take the Blazers.
All right. Yeah. Don't go too much in depth. We gotta cover this
Oh,
later. You
yeah.
know. So don't want you spoiling all the secrets we're going to reveal out. That doesn't even make any sense. Anyway, chat is going with Portland. This is probably going to be their double down pick. Which it was last time. I feel like it's always going to be Portland as the double down since everybody is homers. Sanji says 14 votes for Portland. I see 2 votes for Houston. 2 for Houston. So that is by far the most heavily favored team. Anyway, last game we got. Dallas versus Sacramento. You got Dallas favored by 6 in this one, and I am actually going to take the Sacramento Kings. This was the toughest game for me to pick. Dallas, up until that Phoenix Suns game, looked phenomenal offensively. I mean, they looked pretty good in that Phoenix Suns game, but the Suns just beat the Mavericks. The Mavericks don't have as much to play for as the Kings. I think they're 2.5 back of the 6th spot, and they're not going to fall to 8th. So they're kind of locked into their position. I'm sure they'd love to get up to 6, but, you know... And they're it's not like they're resting guys or anything. They're still playing, but the Kings pretty much need this game. All these teams bunched up in the race for 9th need to win, basically. Every game is very, very important for these teams. So the Kings, this is probably one of the easier games they have on their schedule. I think they're going to really, come out with a lot of energy in this game against the Mavericks. And I think they keep it close. If I had to pick, if it was a toss-up, I think the Mavericks win, but I think it's going to be a close game. Therefore, I'm going to take Sacramento with the points. Eric, what do you got?
So I'm going to go against my rule for this game because I just have a funny feeling that the Mavericks are going to blow the Kings out. I don't like the way the Kings have played so far. And this is going to be my double down as well. The Mavs, if you just take like the first 3 quarters of both of their games so far, they've played by far the best out of any team in the thing. They've kind of struggled down the stretch of those 2 games, blew a couple of huge leads, and just stopped scoring offensively. I don't think they'll have those problems against the Kings, so I expect them to come out and get a win here for their first win in Orlando.
Yep. All right. You got 14 people voting for the Mavs and 6 for the Kings. Thank you, Sanji and Trevin, for counting. That made it very easy. That's probably what we're going to do in the future. There really was a close game today.
Not in chat.
I wish we did this.
Chat did well, so maybe.
I wish we did this on Friday or on Thursday because there was a lot of close games and we were trying to count them and it was tough. But that's probably what we're going to do. So thank you again to Trevin and Sanji for helping us out. Let me just.
We only the Clippers did we all agree on. Other than that, had some different opinions.
I'll go back over the picks. There's game. Oh, it's gone. That's right. It randomly disappears. So I might try and post them on Twitter. Post the picks or something, but I'll probably forget. Let's just be honest. I will probably forget. So anyway, that is picks against the spread. I think.
Looks like the double down will be Portland.
Yep, double down will be Portland. You guys are a bunch of homers. Not surprised by that one. So, anyway.
Well, they're going to gain 2 games on you when Portland wins.
I mean, if Portland wins, then that's the silver lining. I'll take a Portland win. I still want them to win. You know what I mean? We don't have that good of a bet. We don't have a bet yet, so I'm not really scared yet, If we had like a really big bet on the line, then maybe I'd be, a little scared. Obviously, nothing's going to override my fandom, but I also got to vote with my head, and my head says Houston, and I'll get into it. Anyway, a couple quick little segues. Here is our streaming schedule. The mics aren't on that scene. Sadly, I'll just post it on here. Here's our streaming schedule. This is just in case you guys don't know what's coming up tonight. We're streaming. It's August 3rd. Tomorrow, we got the Blazers vs. Rockets. We have our post-game show. Then we'll also do a Blazers Up Press Live tomorrow. I figured we'd do it just because it was a late game, so we could go a little late with the stream and go into the night with it. It's not in the middle of the day, so I figured maybe one game we'll have like an extended post-game show. We'll see what your situation is. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, streaming all those days. All those days. So you guys better get used to us. Hopefully you aren't tired of us already. One other quick little thing. We do have merch. It's not new anymore, so I should probably update this graphic. But merch, I'll post the link in the chat for you guys. If you buy merch, it'll get you a ticket to our watch party. That is tentatively scheduled on August 6th. It might have to be pushed back. We'll see on that. But here is the link for the merch. If you wish to buy some merch and get a ticket to that watch party. And that's just a couple quick little segues. Do you want to talk about like your situation with that?
Probably not on air right now.
Okay, not on air.
I'm going to do my best. Like tomorrow, I'll definitely be able to make the post-game show because we close at 8.
Okay. That's the one good time.
I'll probably have to do it at the store, but it's all good.
Yeah, I'll probably just I would just say don't worry about your webcam then, if you don't want to, because I know it's kind of hard to set up and stuff. Or you can use your webcam if you want.
It's actually super easy. I've been using the one built into my computer lately. So
got you. All right, so things should be normal tomorrow. I thought maybe you wouldn't be able to make it, but that's the perfect time to have a late post game stream. Yeah. We're not gonna get into why. I thought you wanted to talk about it on there, so I didn't say anything about it though because I wasn't 100% sure. So anyway, the watch party is tentatively scheduled on August 6th. If it's postponed, we'll try and do it. The 10th. Wait, no, we play the 10th. I'll try and do it maybe the 10th would work or something like that, or the 13th. I feel like we don't play the 10th. I'm kind of blank. Let me pull this back up just for myself. The 9th or the 11th. The 9th or the 11th. The 9th would probably work for me. I might not even be able to get back before then because I'm going to actually go to the beach Saturday night and come back Sunday. So my schedule is just all over the place right now, so it's hard to even think about what would work for me. But we'll figure it out. If that gets postponed, we'll figure it out. We'll keep you guys updated on that. If you are a Patreon donor or have donated to my Patreon, I will send you a message on Patreon trying to set up some other form of contact with you. If you've bought merch, I'm going to either email you at the email you use to buy your merch, and I will get in contact with you that way. Or if I know you're on Discord, like Dionysus, I will message you on Discord. That's just to set up the link and set things up for the watch party. If you have bought merch, have donated to our Patreon, or are a member, then reach out to me, Twitter, Discord, blazeruprise@gmail.com. Reach out to me in any of those three ways, and I will set things up for you, because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a link that only people who have a ticket will get access to that link, so I just need a way to send you the link to that watch party when it happens. So that is that. Let's transition into... Which do you want to talk about? Do you want to go over that? Let's go over that last play first, right? Because you had something that you wanted to talk about based on this last play. So here it is. This is that last play where Yusuf Nurkic got a lay-in. There was 3.8 remaining or 3.4 seconds remaining. Blazers had no timeouts. It basically ended the game for Portland. Should have went for 3 here, but we went for 2. And you have some thoughts. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, for one, we didn't know the players and coaches' answer after the game yet when we went live, so we were basing it off of just our thoughts and not what they said. Mm-hmm. So Stotts in the post-game show, we might listen to this segment in a minute, but he basically said that the play was to get a 3, and that Dame just made a reaction based on the defense. to get the 2, but he said it was definitely a 3-point play, which to me goes back to how I don't recall many times where Stotts took accountability or responsibility for something, even if it's not his fault. So I feel like that's kind of throwing Dame under the bus a little bit. Mm-hmm. And Dame came out and said, my bad, whatever. So this is what I think happened. And you can tell me if I'm way off base or if you think this is correct. So I think what happened is Stotts ran the Dame make a 3 play, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't tell anyone else what to do or where to be or where you should go. He was just like, Dame, save us. Go do your thing, like he usually does in these situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a well-coached team would have options off of that. And you would tell Nurk, like on this play, Nurk's rolling to the basket. You would say, Nurk, you do not roll after you set the pick. You just fade to the 3-point line. If Tice goes with Dame, then you're going to be wide open. You have Trent further down into the corner, mm-hmm. so that Hayward has to decide either to guard Nurk or Trent.
Yeah, so kind of by the TD side.
Yes, so if you pass to Nurk and he's wide open, he can shoot the 3. If Hayward goes up on Nurk, then Gary Trent's wide open for the 3 in the mm-hmm. corner. He just makes the skip pass, bam.
Yep.
The next part of this
Hayward would have to choose one of the 2 because there's only Hayward over there, and Nurkic and Gary Trent should be spotting up on that side of the floor.
Yep. The next part of this picture is the fact that Dame has 3 guys on him. And this is because we have Melo who inbounds the ball, and this picture is kind of deceiving because he doesn't spot up for 3. He runs straight into the basket. Yeah. So we have both Nurk and Melo under the basket, like when Nurk makes the lay-in. And then, so the fact that Melo has this, he just runs straight in, allows Tatum to just stay here on Dame because he knows Melo's not going to shoot a 3. And even if Dame passes to Melo here, there's not enough space there there's plenty of space for Tatum to recover and get back to Melo. And then you have CJ way too far up. So Jaylen Brown's kind of crowding this too. So you have 3 Blazers crowding Dame's positioning. Mm-hmm. If you're going to run a play for Dame to get a 3, you shouldn't have the other 2 players that close to him when he gets the ball. And you have 6.8 seconds left. That's more than enough time. At this point where Dame passes the ball, you still have almost 6 seconds to run action or run a play. It's not like it's 0.8 seconds or 0.9 seconds and he has to do something right that second or it's the game's over,
Yeah, he doesn't have to catch and shoot it immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically we took CJ out of this play, we took Melo out of this play, we took Trent out of this play, and only allowed Dame and Nurk to be in this play, and we didn't even have Nurk in the right position. Otherwise, it would have resulted in a wide open 3 if he just stops and pops out to the 3-point line. So this is my frustration with saying, oh, this is on Dame, because the whole structure of the play is messed up. And then I had someone tell me that, it's just not executed right by the players then. And that's just so dumb to me. I don't know. It's just really, it's frustrating because you have 6.8 seconds. You can run a better option than just give Dame the ball in a crowded space and hope he makes a 3. Mm-hmm. And obviously we tell him that, but we don't necessarily say we can't get a 2. He didn't say we cannot shoot a 2-pointer in this situation. He just said the play was for Dame to shoot a 3.
The whole thing, I want to respond to something real quick that you said, that somebody said to you, right? You said, somebody said to you, oh, it's just not executed right. Do we seriously, we have all 4 players outside of Dame in the wrong spot because Gary Trent should be more in the corner, Nurkic should have popped, Carmelo, 1 shouldn't have cut to the rim, and 2 should have been a little bit more space from Dame, and CJ should have been down in the corner, right? So the other 4 Blazers, all of them, if you're designing a good inbounds play here, all of them are in the wrong spot. That doesn't show poor execution to me, right? Because poor execution would be okay, 1, maybe 2 guys were in the wrong spot and it messed things up, right? No, you have 4 guys all in the wrong spot here.
Well, I forgot what game it was, but you have that. remember that game where like Swanigan was supposed to set a pick or something and he didn't come right or didn't come at the right time or something and they blamed him for it.
Yeah.
But like that's different. Like one player, like you said,
messing up.
But
you're not going to have four players all messing up in this situation if it's just poor execution, in my opinion.
If you are inbounding the ball on the spot where they did it, which is right near that hash mark, so like just ahead of where Dame is, you cannot run the action of the guy coming off the pick, Dame, all the way to that sideline. Like I said, it allows Tatum to just come right off the inbounds pass and double team Dame. He needs to get the ball more towards the center of the court, even if it's back near half court. Like I said, he still has almost 6.8 seconds when he catches the ball to make something happen. That's plenty of time to drive or get a good shot off of that action. If you run him all the way to the sideline, it just causes way too much cluster, and it's just terrible design. Even if you're expecting Dame to save you every time, this is just putting him at a severe disadvantage. He's got three guys standing right here. What is he supposed to do? Pull up and shoot this with 6 seconds left? You have time to run something.
That's what I want to know for all the people saying, "Oh, it's Dame's fault." What is he supposed to do in this situation? What, like, his literally only option is to maybe heave a 40-footer while being triple teamed, But then if he misses that, people say, "Oh, bad shot. He had 6 seconds left," right? Or the only other option is to throw the ball to Nurk. Because I think if he tries to throw it to Melo, Tatum deflects it, right? Yeah. You can't get it to CJ with just the way things are set up. You can't get it to Gary Trent, right? The only option here is Nurkic. The only option for a pass, or to heave up a triple-teamed 40-footer with 6 seconds on the clock. You know what I mean? So that might have been lower odds for us to win than just throwing the ball to Nurk and hoping something happens. So that's the thing. It's just like people way too quick to blame Dame, which is weird, but you have people, in our fan base that try and pin too much on Dame. I want to know what the people blaming Dame think Dame should have done here.
And the other thing is too, if you're expecting Boston to do this, throw it, because Tice left Nurk the minute he set a pick. So just have Nurk throw it to Nurk immediately, and then have Dame be the guy where CJ is, and then go set a double pick for him coming back towards the middle, and Nurk can just hand it off to him, and he can get a three. There's plenty of time to run a set, and we just ran here, Dame, we're going to pass it into you, you make a three. Doesn't matter what else you do, because Dame's going to hit this shot, and doesn't matter.
Which I mean, he has really in the past, but the thing is, Stotts designed this play like there was 1 second left, right? I get it. If there's 1 second left, you try and free Dame running to the ball so he can catch it, maybe with a little bit of space to get a shot off, right? I understand that if there was 1 second left. There was, I think, 6.8. There was like almost 7 seconds on the clock when they ran this inbound set. So you had a lot of time to, okay, maybe you can free Dame for a catch and shoot. If that's not there, run some sort of action after that to free up a 3-point shot. He should have ran Dame off Nurkic, and Nurkic should have popped. I would have taken an open Nurkic 3, right? He could have set up some sort of secondary action. And with how much attention Dame draws, you got Gary Trent Jr. out there who was 7 for 11 from 3 this game, right? Carmelo had just hit a clutch 3. Last game, he hit 2 clutch 3s. You got CJ McCollum out there who had just hit who hit a couple clutch 3s. You have shooters out there, right? You use Dame, try and get him a look, but then if he's smothered, have some sort of action where, okay, you can turn Dame being smothered into an open shot for a good shooter, which you have out there. And that's the thing. It's like people talk about Terry Stotts like he's a great out of timeout coach. He draws up great plays out of a timeout. He has great inbounds plays. That is so false, man. This is a perfect example of why I think that narrative is completely false, because any coach who has a good repertoire of inbounds plays, who's good out of timeouts, would have been able to draw up something where, okay, if Dame's smothered here running towards the ball like he always does, a good coach running out of timeout plays would have been able to draw something up after that to be able to get an open look for somebody. Instead, the other 4 guys have no idea what to do, and it results in a lay-in, which lost us the game because we needed a 3.
And Shervin says maybe Stotts was anticipating immediate foul, but Boston didn't foul. They didn't even look like they were going to foul. And even if they were, if you have Nurk popped out to the 3-point line on this picture instead of running towards the hoop, Dame can pass to him before he gets fouled, and then they wouldn't call that foul if like it's like when you're trying to intentionally foul and you pass the ball up ahead. They don't call an intentional foul even if you grab the guy who passed the ball because the ball's on the other side of the court and they're running freely, right? You have to foul the guy with the ball in that situation usually.
And you don't drop an out of bounds. An inbounds play looking for it, like you don't design an inbounds play here like as if they're going to foul, right? You don't design an inbounds play as if they're going to foul.
Well, this is what you say. You say, Dame, if they go and it's obvious they're going to foul you, you shoot immediately. Like, and just get into your shooting motion. And that way, if they foul you, you're shooting the three. If they don't foul you, at least you got a three off, right? But if they don't foul, we need to have a backup plan for if because there's no plan here. There's nothing other than if Dame makes this shot or not. So when he decides to pass, I mean, yeah, he shouldn't have passed the ball, but like there's no other option for him because like he didn't get fouled. But like it's just frustrating because like we should have had this set up. Dame could have. There's enough time here to pass the ball and get the ball back, and the defense would have been so chaotic with three people out of position that there would have been plenty of time to get Dame coming off a curl or something if you really wanted Dame to shoot the last shot. I just don't understand why we didn't anticipate, because you can make the case we anticipated them immediately fouling. Well, why wouldn't we anticipating them immediately double teaming Dame either, or in this case triple teaming Dame? Like you have to account for all different options. You have to practice all these different options. You have to let all four players on the court know that it's not always going to be Dame. Like, yes, he can break people down and score, and he's hit plenty of last second shots, and that's usually a good strategy. But, like, you have to have everyone on the team on the same page, and this obviously wasn't.
Yeah, so that's what's frustrating about this is the narrative around this play by, I feel like, the majority of Blazer fans and especially by the media that covers the team was to excuse Stotts in this situation. That was, like, the number one thing. Oh, that's not Stotts' fault. It's bad execution. Or, oh, it's not Stotts' fault Nurkic went to the rim. Or, oh, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's always a bunch of excuses for it not being Stotts' fault, when I think it very obviously is in this situation because you got four guys on the court who don't know what they're doing. And I do agree with you that the game plan here was like, oh, just get Dame the ball and he'll get a three off and make something happen, which isn't coaching in my opinion. I could easily go into the huddle there and say, okay, Dame, you're going to run off a couple screens, get the ball and hit a three. Like that, anybody can go into a huddle and say that. I feel like your average Blazer fan would say, okay, in this situation, you run Dame off screens and get him the ball, and he tries to make something happen. I feel like your average Blazer fan would have said that. We've seen how, it worked once or twice in the past, right? The thing is, Dame needed to catch and shoot in those situations, and they were poorly defended against Houston and OKC a few years ago. But I feel like your average Blazer fan would have come up with this. This is what your average Blazer fan would have come up with. You know what I mean? That's why it's like, that's not coaching to me. That's not good coaching.
Well, my thing, too, is why even have Nurk in the game if he's not going to be on the three-point line? Or if you don't trust him to shoot a three, why not put in Simons? Or have Melo set the pick on Dame and have Nurk inbound the ball because Nurk's a good passer.
Yeah. So,
and then you have Tatum on the other side of the court. He can't bother Dame as much. There's just like a million other things. Like put five shooters on if you don't want Nurk shooting that three. Otherwise, just have faith in him that he's going to shoot it. Or like I said, he'll pass it if he's not open. There's still plenty of time to make several passes. It's just frustrating because like why even have Nurk in the game if the play is for him to roll to the basket? Like that doesn't make any sense. Like people saying, "Oh, that's on Nurk." Like, well, then don't put Nurk in the game. Or he defied what you said. I mentioned this on the post-game show. There's no way if you tell Nurk he has a chance to hit a game-winning or game-tying three that he's rolling to the basket there. He's going to be like, hell yeah, I'm going to shoot a three. I'm going to make this. Like,
yeah, Nurkic is a coachable player. He's smart, right? He's been shooting more threes, been working on his three-point shot. He just spent a whole year close-knit with the coaching staff because he couldn't play, so we try to look at it from a coach's perspective, right? He's come back. I think he's a much smarter player. You're telling me that if Stotts said, okay, when Damon runs off you pop for three, Nurkic would have popped for three, right? He's not just going to forget Okay, he's not just going to
I'm
forget.
gonna go get a layup.
And the thing is, okay,
he's
yeah,
not J.R. Smith.
for real. But the thing is, if he did, like, I don't know, like the other three players aren't in the right position either. So apparently everybody just forgot to execute. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I don't believe that. I don't buy that. So anyway, it's a good breakdown of that final play. Didn't know exactly. Eric just told me put a picture of the final play up there. I'm like, all right, and I didn't really have any I saw the play. It happened quick though, and I didn't watch it back. But yeah, I do agree with you that it was just Dame get the ball, make something happen, which is always the plan.
The funniest part about this picture is someone sent this to me as like proof that Stotts is a good coach and he had people in position. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
wait, so this picture that you sent me was actually like
it was
taken by somebody else
saying, look, we have 4 people along the 3-point line. They know what they're doing. I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's funny. You just took it. Now we're talking about it on there. Yep. That's awesome, man.
Yep.
So anyway, there's your breakdown. I wish these media guys watched us and actually, like, honestly listened to us. I wish Dan Marang or Chad Doohan in chat right now to respond to us and, actually listen, actually have a conversation. Because I'd be curious to hear their responses, to hear the excuses that would be made. Because, that's what would happen. It'd just be a bunch of excuses.
Well,
I just wish we could go in on it on air instead of, it's always on Twitter.
So I posted after the game before I heard all the comments, like, Stotts supporters, how do you justify going for 2 there, whatever. And I actually had media members responding or liking posts that were saying, like that's not on Stotts, or that wasn't the play design or whatever. So, it's...
that's their whole thing, man. They just got to excuse Stotts. Like, no matter what, it's an excuse for Stotts. And then they turn around and they try and make it like, the people that have an issue with Stotts' coaching in any situation, those people are crazy. Wow, people are already just hating on Stotts, man. People just hate Stotts and these clowns, you know what I mean? It's just like, what are you talking about? We'll actually break it down in depth like we just did. We'll break it down like that. And I don't really hear that from these media guys. So it's like, I'm glad that, I will say this, I think we're starting to maybe get to Chad Doohan. Because I listened to him today, and he was actually complaining about the fact that we don't switch up our defensive scheme. I was shocked. And I was also a little bit pissed off because he called me an idiot this season because I said we should switch up our defensive scheme more. Yeah.
Well, the thing, he keeps posting that the Blazers need to have a defensive coordinator, but that's on Stotts too. Mm-hmm. Stotts won a championship as on a team where you had a good head coach in Rick Carlisle, you had Stotts as the offensive coordinator, and you had Dwayne Casey as the defensive coordinator. And they had full reign on the offense for Stotts and full reign on the defense for Dwayne Casey. Obviously, Carlisle had the final say and everything, but that he let them do their thing. Do you think Stotts would, A, even hire a defensive guy who would be completely controlling of his defense, and 2, allow him to get away with doing his defense the way he wanted to do it and not let Stotts override him and say, no, we're going to play it this way? I don't think either of those situations would happen. And that's why we don't have a defensive coach after like 8 years. We still don't have a defensive coach with Stotts.
We all agree that it would help to have a defensive coordinator that Stotts gave free reign to, because Stotts is not a good defensive coach. Chad said that. So we actually agree on something for once, right? Chad also said that he thinks Stotts is a bit insecure, which I agree with. You can tell, and we'll watch Stotts' post-game interview. Well, he is a bit insecure. Anybody that questions anything, he gets super defensive. Even if it's like an honest question, not even somebody like going after him or anything, he gets super, super defensive, right? Yeah. And it's just like it's either his way or the highway. Like, he's not hard on his players in that regard, but like what he does isn't really, like, the structure isn't really, I don't know. It's not like, how do I explain this? Like, it's not like he demands a whole lot out of his players, right? A free-flowing offense, and you can pretty much take whatever shots you want. One defensive scheme, not hard to remember, not hard to really run, right? So But it's like he doesn't deviate much from it, and it's like his way or the highway. And when it comes to post-game interviews, you can tell it's his way or the highway. Anybody that maybe brings up an alternative that Stotts could have done, he gets upset. He gets defensive, right? And that's also why I don't think he'd bring in a defensive coach, as you said, because he's a bit too stubborn, a bit, as Chad says, too insecure to let a defensive coordinator come in here and implement a defense that they want, and that Stotts might not, and it might not be Stotts' way, right? And that is on Stotts. That is a problem with Terry Stotts. I would not be as against Terry Stotts if he was willing to come to grips with his own deficiencies as a coach and try and put people around him to offset his own deficiencies and to make the team better. That's what he'd be doing if he hired a defensive coordinator. And I think that's what he should have done a long time ago, because he's not a good defensive coach, but he's not going to do it. He hasn't done it, and he's not going to do it. So I don't even know why we're really talking about it, to be honest.
Well, the summer before last season, the season we went to the Western Conference Finals, leading up to that season, I saw an interview with Stotts where he said point blank that some of his assistants came to him and suggested switching some things up on defense. And he said, I considered it for a while, but decided to stick with my system to see if it worked. And we were like, I think somewhere between like 16th to 18th or something in defensive rating that year. Not great. And I mean, like, we made it to the Western Conference Finals, not necessarily because of our strong defense, but like, we had solid defenders that can play that system well. But so yeah, like a guy like David Vanderpool leaves the next summer, you kind of wonder if maybe he was like, nothing he was saying was like being applied by Stotts. So like, what's the point of even being an assistant coach? Like, you might as well go to another team as the same or similar position, and then be like maybe this coach will give me more of a chance so I can show what I can do as more of a head coach. Because if you're an assistant under Stotts, all these guys are getting interviews every summer, but like, they can't go in a thing and say, look, like, Stotts is the coach, but I ran this part of the team and I did this defensive scheme and this worked this well, so this is what I feel like I could bring to your team. Instead, it's like, oh, I suggested doing this, but Stotts didn't want to, so, this is what I would do, but I don't know if it works because, Stotts wouldn't let me do it. It's hard to know. But like, I agree, he would never do a defensive coach like that. But it's strange because, like I said, he won a championship in that, doing a similar thing. So it just makes it so weird.
Yeah.
But the thing about Stotts is, like, I always have to give him credit when we talk about this, because he knows that he needed to get in good with Dame, and Dame's super loyal. And unless he does something to really piss Dame off, he's not going to ruin that loyalty as long as he keeps doing the same thing. So Dame's never going to be like, we need a new coach, or like, this just isn't working. Dame is going to have his back, and it's actually the opposite, where like after the Pelican series where they're considering firing Stotts and Dame sticks up for him and he gets an extension the next year. So
that's also part of the reason why I'll never listen to the argument, oh, well, Dame likes him, so you should too.
But he's smart enough to know that he needs to please Dame and keep Dame happy, and CJ to a lesser extent. So he knows what to do to keep his job, and that is a good, like, to his credit, he does have enough coaching ability to realize that and to keep it that way. But we'll when we get into Dan Marang's question, we'll have a little more on the coaching, though.
Yeah, and we'll respond to that interview and go in on it a little bit. Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting to hear Chad doing, like, say they should switch up their scheme more, because I swear he called me an idiot for trying to explain that to him, for saying we need to switch up our scheme more, and it's not just injuries. We could switch up our scheme and do different things schematically to keep teams off balance. If something's not working, if our defensive scheme isn't working, we can switch it up and try something else. Why would you keep trying something that doesn't work, right? And idiot, they don't have Nurkic and Collins, so there's nothing they can do. Injuries, right? And now today, which I guess props to him for actually not staying so close-minded, I guess. Like, he was saying that, oh yeah, our defense sucks, and we should switch things up. If it's not working, then why not blitz a pick and roll. He actually used the words blitz a pick and roll. I was shocked. I was like, bro, this is literally all I've been saying all year, and all I wish you would like look at and consider, because media doesn't really talk about different pick and roll schemes or different stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so I was just shocked. You know what I mean? Because he actually referenced, there's people on Twitter that I've talked with all year about our defensive schemes, and they actually made me like look into things and like really try and come up with a good response. And then you start talking about maybe we should be more versatile with our schemes. It's like, oh wow, maybe he's listening to us a little bit.
Yeah, so maybe he's listening to Dwight Jaynes, because Dwight actually asked Stotts a question in that interview about whether he was blitzing the picks. He didn't have the right terminology or the right, like, I don't think we did what he said we did, but at least he asked a question about it. So maybe the blitzing the picks came from that question by Dwight Jaynes.
Yeah, maybe.
Because Chad calls him the Godfather, and
but he did reference the people from Twitter. So I don't know. All I've wanted him all season long was to not call me and not insult me for no reason, and to like maybe actually listen to things. So I just hope more media is like that.
At the same time, he was still doing his usual, 2 games and everyone who hates Stotts is back at it, and that kind of stuff. So, like, if you're starting to come around on that, why are you also still questioning people
for likes?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Probably. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. That's what I expect. So I was just a little surprised after he said that yesterday to actually like hear that today. And he's still, prefacing everything with, I love Stotts, great offensive coach, which I disagree with.
Yeah.
But I think, I guess that's where we really disagree, us in media. But so anyway, I thought that was interesting. We got Dan Marang tweet that we're going to respond to. And this isn't to like, I don't know. We just wanted to respond to this question. He said, can someone point me in the direction where this whole idea that a coach can game plan / scheme defensively without the appropriate personnel started? I would love to find this coach who sprinkles magic game plans on his players and suddenly their deficiencies go away. Now, let me start off with saying, God, and I said this yesterday. Screw it, I'm going to say it. This type of tweet sounds like it comes from the type of person that overvalues like analytics and like, like a basketball nerd, which we are too, but like one that never actually played like high school or college basketball or anything, right? You know what I mean? Like the whole narrative that your game plan and scheme is solely dependent on your personnel is so flawed. And we'll get into this. Like, you don't have to. You can have players with deficiencies and still try and run different schemes, right? You can still blitz a pick and roll. You can still hedge a pick and roll. It might not be executed as well as it possibly could be, but it's not having a lineup of Dame, CJ, Melo, Collins, Nurkic isn't stopping you from running a different scheme than just dropping the big. Like, this whole narrative that that's all they can do doesn't make sense to me. I don't really get what he's saying here, but I know you want to respond to this. You can probably articulate a response a little bit better than me since you gave me this tweet, so I want to hear what you have to say on this.
Okay, first of all, to phrase a question, where did this idea that a coach can game plan and scheme defensively? What the hell is the point of a coach? Isn't it to game plan and scheme? Like, isn't that his whole job? Like, isn't that what he gets paid to do, is make a game plan and scheme defensive things and offensive things to, like, make your team better? What's the point of even having a coach if you're not going to game plan and scheme?
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
If everything's so personnel dependent, why even have a coach? It's all up to personnel, right?
And if it is personnel dependent, why do you defend Stotts so much? What does it matter who our coach is then? We could have any clown in the coaching box, and it would be the same, right?
Yeah.
If it only matters what personnel does, right? So this makes me so mad. And the funniest part about this is exactly the proof that it's Dame and CJ and Nurk and guys like that who make Stotts a good coach, because he is admitting here that Stotts cannot game plan a scheme defensively unless he has good personnel. So he is not a good coach if he cannot game plan and scheme defensively without the right personnel. So he only wins games because of Dame and CJ, right? Yeah. And Nurk and guys like that. So this whole thing about, oh, Stotts got us to the Western Conference Finals. Well, you just said it's the personnel, not his game plans, right? Mm-hmm. And you can't say offensively it's different, because it's the same thing. You could say the same question offensively without the appropriate personnel. Well, he has good personnel on offense, so his offense looks good. If he didn't have good offensive personnel, it's not like his system would be good offensively, or he would do anything different. Like he would still like do similar things. So the whole point of having a coach is to game plan and scheme. And we've known our schedule for over a month now, I think. Mm-hmm. We've known what 8 teams we're going to play. We've had over a month to game plan for these specific 8 teams, knowing how important each of these 8 games were. We've had, they had like a whole month and a half almost of training camp before the game started. You couldn't have designed some schemes against like what you're going to do against Boston, what you're going to do against Houston, and kind of go over that. So then when you get like to the day before the game, you could be like, hey, remember a couple weeks ago when we talked about this in training camp? Here it is, like where it's now time to implement this. They're a lot bigger on the wings, so let's we're going to run this stuff instead of our normal pick and roll defense, whatever. But like, find me a coach who sprinkles magic game plans. How about Nick Nurse? He had games this year without half his team, all good defenders, guys like Lowry, Siakam, Gasol, Ibaka, OG. Those guys all missed some of the same games, and they beat some good teams with like just crazy game plans of like full court press or like weird little zone defenses or trapping schemes. He threw everything out there because he knew on paper his team wasn't good enough. So like, what's the point of even playing some of these games if you're just like, oh, you know what, Boston's a better team? And this is what I hate about media is like, it's nothing you can do about it. Like, Stotts is a great coach. There's nothing he can do about his personnel. It says suddenly their deficiencies go away. Your whole point as a coach is also to try to mitigate some of the deficiencies of your team. So if your team is horrible defending the 3-point line, you design your game plans and schemes around how you can put them in the better position to maybe minimize some of those weaknesses. Instead, we go big and start Melo with the 3 and, start 2 bigs, and it just magnifies our problems on defense. And then we get questions like this, like, well, what is he supposed to do? He doesn't have the personnel. Well, how about starting the right starting lineup first? And then he tells us, oh, well, he can't start the right starting lineup because he's told who to start, and he has no control over that. Well, then fine. Start Melo with the 3 and take him out after a few minutes and bring him back in with the bench like we did with like Layman and Vonleh and those type of players. Like, make him a token starter. Yeah. And then he doesn't. Back with the bench unit.
He also doesn't have to end the first half with the starters too, because if he just has to start, he doesn't have to end the first half, right? You can play the starters at the end of the first half with a Gary Trent instead of a Melo against the other team's starters, and that lineup would be more optimized because we'd have a good perimeter defender in there. And like you said, we could stagger Melo with the bench, but Melo has been ending halves, so it's not just about starting Melo; it's about Melo playing in that specific lineup.
Or if Melo has to play the 4, fine. Start Trent at the 3, start Melo at the 4, and then do the same thing and bring Collins in after a couple minutes. And then we don't have the problem maybe where Collins gets 2 fouls in 5 seconds and has to go sit down. And when that happens, what do? We bring in Hazonia at the 4, like instead of bringing Trent in the game. Like, there's so many it doesn't make sense to say that. You can, even if you have to start Melo, which is BS. Like, when you signed Melo, we didn't know about coronavirus yet. So, like, there was no possible way of knowing that the season was going to be shut down for 4.5 months. So you could have gone to Melo and been like, hey, look, when we signed you, I know we promised you the starting job, but Zach is our starter. I have this policy that you can't lose your job to like injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I know you can play the 3, but we really need you as a scorer up the bench. Would you consider doing that? If he says no, then you got to kind of try to figure out a way. But that's kind of BS if he says no, because he's only thinking about himself, not the team. But
which everybody's talked about this year. Oh, he's such a team first guy. He's such a great locker room guy, right? So if he's such a great locker room guy, you should be able to go to him, like you're saying.
Yeah. So, and like I said, even if you're like, hey, I really came here because I was a starter, but you'd be like, we signed you, Zach, because if you listen to Olshay's post-trade deadline chat, he basically says that Zach's not going to play this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you take that into consideration, I'm pretty sure they were planning on sitting Zach this season. And if he did come back, because he didn't get cleared until it was sometime during the quarantine, right? So it would have been after the season was over anyway. So, yeah, like they would have brought him slowly. Even if they did bring him back, they would have had him come off the bench. So Melo was probably guaranteed that. There was no way they could have known when they made that promise, if that even was made, that we would have 4.5 months and we'd have a completely healthy Nurk with no injury restrictions and a completely healthy Zach with no minutes restrictions and still have Whiteside on our team and all that stuff. So, like, there's no way to know that. So, like, if Melo can't reason with that, fine. But then you just do the thing, like I said, and just start him and then say, like, well, look, I'm going to take you out and you're going to come in with the bench. And you can still keep your starting spot so you keep your dignity or whatever he thinks that does for him starting. But he would feast off bench units. Like, we could just go to him and post up and it wouldn't be as big of an issue. But, yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
But
going back to this tweet, though, going back to like the specific tweet, man, the whole last part, I would love to find this coach who sprinkles magic game plans on his players and suddenly their deficiencies go away. Well, we actually had a game earlier this year against the Houston Rockets where Stotts came out with a good defensive game plan that was different than what he normally does, where we were trapping James Harden, rotating well on the backside, and it worked, right? It worked. If our players' deficiencies were stopping us from running different sorts of game plans, why did that defensive game plan that night, why did it work then, right? If deficiencies are well, going back to the start of his tweet, because he said, can someone point me in the direction where this whole idea that a coach can game plan scheme defensively without the appropriate personnel started? Well, he did it earlier this year in that Houston game. He came out with a different game plan and scheme, and it was with the same personnel, and it worked, right? So we already know that that's bullshit just based on that one Houston game, right? And that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing that so many media guys have gotten wrong this year, talking about how basically we can't run different defensive schemes because of our personnel. Well, we've shown that this scheme doesn't really work with this personnel, right? Like, we're one of the worst defenses in the league. We got Collins and Nurkic back. Our defense is still bad. Our defense is still bad. How do we know different schemes would be worse, right? It's not like we're running one great scheme and, running other schemes might not be as good, right? No, we already suck.
Well, I think it was Trevin, but someone posted that through 2 games now we have the worst defensive rating in the league through these 2 bubble games with Collins and Nurk.
Yeah, which we warned these media guys all season. It's not just injuries. It's not like Collins and Nurkic are going to come back and fix these issues. Our biggest issue is covering the 3-point line. Having bigs back isn't going to fix that. Putting the Melo at the 3 isn't going to fix that. We're going bigger and slower, right? That's not going to fix things. That might make things worse, right? But no, these guys called us idiots all season, talk crap to us all season. Because, it's just injuries. Once we get Collins and Nurkic back, we'll be fine, right? There's nothing, they can't scheme differently. It's just injuries. Stotts has no control. That's all it is, right? Well, Nurkic and Collins came back. We still have these issues. We've shown earlier this season that we can execute different schemes. Honestly, that might have been the best defensive game we've had all year when we ran that different scheme. So how do we know that running different schemes might not result in better defense. Like, why would you be the worst defense out of the 22 teams in the bubble and keep running the same scheme when it's not working without trying to switch things up and experiment and like, it's broken. It's broken. Don't do the same thing that's failing over and over again. Don't bang your head into a brick wall over and over again. And that's basically what our defense is right now.
And that's what I keep coming back to is these people who are defending Stotts are basically saying it's okay to have the worst defense and not try anything different. All right? Mm-hmm. Like, how is that okay? Like,
it's just personnel, man.
If we were one of the worst defenses all year, we were one of the worst defending the three in the perimeter, especially. So, like, what does it hurt to try something different? Like, throw everything at them. Like, do anything differently than what you're doing. And if it's still bad, it's still bad. But at least you can say, at least we didn't just keep trying to fit this, square peg into a round hole. Like, that's the problem I have, is that, like, this doesn't explain why the defense is bad. Yes, if the personnel is terrible and the coach can't make up for the deficiencies, if that's your philosophy, but why excuse a bad defense then? Like, that? Why excuse keeping the same defensive scheme? Why not try a defensive scheme? Because when you ask the question, point me in the direction where a coach can game plan and scheme. Like, so he's just supposed to keep the same one and never change it and just hope that someday Olshey brings him someone that magically makes his scheme better, and like Nurk did that one year.
Or magically brings somebody in that allows him to change his scheme, which doesn't make any sense. You know, people talking about how this scheme that he runs is personnel dependent. He's had all sorts of different personnel the past 5 years. He had Aminu and Harkless, right? Now he has two good defensive bigs. You know what I mean? Like, he's had different personnel and he still ran the same scheme. So that's the whole mistake, is making it like, oh, he just runs the scheme because of his personnel. No, he runs the scheme because that's all he wants to run. This is what he likes to run. He doesn't like to switch it up. He's too stubborn to switch it up. He doesn't really like adjusting based on what he wants to do. So this is the one scheme he runs. That's it.
And there's another point Danny made was that you can't play Little and Gabriel right now because they're inexperienced and unproven, and they haven't earned it in practice. And so this is also frustrating to me because, like, Little is a good defender. He's actually proven that in a couple of games this year when he had a chance. He hasn't really given much a chance, but in those games he did prove that he can play defense. That guy is a defensive he's going to be a stud on defense. Mm-hmm. And it may not be yet, but when you're playing a team with size and like, you can't just say we have such a disadvantage on the wing, there's nothing we can do. Well, you didn't even try like throwing a guy on like Little on Tatum and seeing if maybe he can, just slow him down a little bit. Or like Gabriel has shown that he has at least energy on defense. He flies around. Like, just get someone who tries hard on and shows some effort. Throw him in the game. Like, you can't tell me that because like Nick Nurse, who he brought up, he had games where he had like defensive standout performances from guys like Chris Boucher and Terrence Mann and Malcolm Miller and players like that no one has ever heard of before this season, unless you're like hardcore like college basketball fan or whatever. Like, I'm sure you've heard of some of those guys, but like these same people who know who Nasir Little is are now trying to say that they don't know, like, you can't give him like a chance or whatever. It's just so frustrating because like it's just nothing but excuses out of these people, and I'm so sick of it. Like, yes, there might be nothing that Stotts can do, but that doesn't mean you don't do anything. And that's my main point. And it's basically like saying like, well, we care more about Melo's feelings here and care more about making sure I have my way and I do my scheme rather than having like some humility and letting
that you can run different stuff with the same personnel. You could run different stuff with this personnel. But
there we go.
You can throw Nasir Little in there instead of Mario Hezonja, right? You can throw Nasir Little in there and maybe blitz. with a Nasir Little who can fly around, right? Maybe switch things up. Throw a Nasir Little in there and play pressure defense, because his game could kind of fit that, maybe throw a trap in there, just switch things up, be more versatile instead of the same thing. That first half against that Boston game, we were horrible. Without a single, and we didn't adjust at all. Didn't adjust going into the second half either, right? We were down 24. The only reason we brought it back is because Damian Lillard is insane, CJ McCollum is insane, and Gary Trent Jr. is playing phenomenally, and Nurkic is playing phenomenally, right? Like,
I think we got a leg.
Do we? No. Well, we've made it pretty far.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that bad. I think it's like minor lag, but a little bit.
Oh, there we go. We back.
Let me open the door back here. Give me a sec.
The door.
See if that makes things better. But no, I mean the only reason we brought it back was because of how our personnel was playing. Dame was hitting insane threes. Nurkic was playing insane. CJ was playing insane. Like, they carried our team back into that game. It wasn't anything that Stotts did in terms of adjustments. It wasn't anything that Stotts did in terms of coaching, in my opinion. It was Damian Lillard is maybe the best Blazer ever. The CJ McCollum got hot. Gary Trent Jr. has been hot in this bubble the whole entire time. Nurkic is back better than ever, right? So that's the only reason we brought it back. It was insane play. We should have won that game based on how we played in that third quarter, because we played one of the best quarters of the season, maybe the best quarter of the season. You had Dame playing his best defense of the season, one-on-one, right? Like, that was maybe that was one of our 10 best quarters of the season. We still lost because of the hole that we dug in the first half, because we were running a drop scheme and letting Tatum walk into mid-range jumpers, and he built a rhythm, and then he started hitting tough threes because he had confidence, right? Just stuff like that, man.
And then just think about this, okay? If Dame and Nurk are in the game, they can run the pick and roll no matter what the personnel is. And if you have Trent in there too, I mean, he's shooting lights out right now, so he's going to space the floor a little bit. Mm-hmm. So the offense can run no matter what the personnel is. Obviously, the more skilled offensive players you have, the better. But the type of shots that both Dame and Nurk were getting in that game would have been the same regardless of the three players playing around them in most of the situations. Yeah. So you think about that, and then you just think about trying a lineup with Dame, Little, Trent, Collins, and Nurk. You have Dame playing good defense, like you said, that game, and then you have four other solid defenders on the court with Dame. We didn't even try something like that. They're shooting threes at will. We don't even go to a defensive lineup. We just try to put more offense in the game and hope we start scoring or something. And that's what's crazy to me. Think about the switchability and the defensive, the IQ defensively of those five guys playing together. But we don't even try some of those things, and that's what's crazy to me. And whether Little's earned that role or not, why not at least try him if nothing else is working? That's the thing. You can't have teams hitting double-digit threes and a half against you. You'll lose almost every game that happens. We had how many games this year did teams hit at least 10 threes and a half against us? It happened a lot. I remember I was at a game against Dallas at the MC earlier this year, and they hit 10 threes. They were on pace after the first quarter to set an NBA record for threes in a game. But then we do stupid stuff throw an obvious double team, and then Stotts will be like, oh, see, double teams don't work, instead of actually trying to design something that does work. He just wants to prove that his scheme other than that doesn't. It's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because we could be talking right now. Memphis is 0-3. They lost again tonight. Do you realize we would be one game behind them right now if we won yesterday? Yeah. One game behind them. Game. And we'd be solid. I know Spurs lost 2, so we're back in the 9th spot. But we would be one game behind them. Basically,
one game ahead of them. One game ahead of the Spurs, one game behind Memphis.
Yep. And we'd be in the driver's seat for that 8th spot because Memphis still has a tough schedule. And we could be looking at only having to win one game going into this. and we can't mess around in these games. We can't just come out with the same defensive stuff. Like if they don't run something different tomorrow night and just let Houston, whose whole purpose, they traded all their big guys just so they can shoot nothing but threes basically the entire games. If we're not doing anything differently to try and defend the 3-point line, like, we're going to get blown out of the gym tomorrow.
I'll get into what I think we should do. Yeah. We should respond to this Terry Stotts interview.
All right.
We should respond to this. I got 3 timestamps from Eric, stuff that we should respond to. So here we go. Let me actually make this bigger. There we go. Let me get it up there. Hopefully that looks good. All right, there we go. Your name under Terry Stotts' face. It looks like that's who it is. I could actually.
I'll be quiet.
Or I'll just I'll do that. There we go. So we're gonna respond to this. Eric already knows what he says, but I'm gonna play. So I'm just gonna play it. Eric can't hear it. I don't know really a workaround for that, but I'm gonna play. This is the answer to the last play.
I really don't recall. I think they were talking about how Boston might defend the last play.
And what were you hoping to get a 2-pointer out of that, or were you looking to get a 3 first, or?
No, we were looking for a 3, but they jumped out on Dame, and he made a reaction pass to Nurk. But yeah, of course we were looking to get a 3.
Yeah,
that's such a non-answer.
Mm-hmm.
He made a reaction pass to Nurk. Well, why was Nurk rolling if we were looking to get a 3? Why was Nurk rolling if we were looking to get a 3? That's what I really don't understand about that. And that should have been the follow-up question. That should have 100% been the follow-up question. Okay, I thought we were lying for a second. We're good. That should be the follow-up question. If I was me, I'd ask, okay, so if you were looking for a 3, why was Nurkic rolling?
Unfortunately, like, we don't have the type of media that would be able to dissect it that much. Like, they're probably just like, oh, okay, makes sense, Dame.
Yeah, I want to hear the follow-up.
It was supposed to be a 3, but yeah.
I want to hear the follow-up question, just out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Next question is coming from Jared Greenberg with Turner Sports.
Coach, you talked last place about
you can switch to the next one.
Playoff mentality. This is playoff basketball for you.
Mentality. See, it's just a completely different subject. Why was Nurkic rolling if we were looking for a 3, man? Like, that should have been the follow-up question. So anyway, here we go. Next one is a Dwight Jaynes question on if he switched up the defense at halftime.
Terry, you finally, let's start off by saying you gave up a lot of open threes in the first half, and then it seemed like you finally blitzed a little bit in the second half. Was there any thought at halftime of just switching what you were doing on your coverages on threes?
Well, I'll take exception a little bit in that some of their threes in the first half were off the dribble one-on-one. So, it had nothing to do with blitzing. They made some good threes off the dribble.
Basically every team this year. Oh, every team just makes threes against us. I don't know what it is, man. It's like there's a theme, so it's obviously something we're doing raw. You thought they're just hitting threes off the dribble and every team just goes off against us. No, it's something with us, right? If that happens in one game, sure. If that happens 3 games in a row, okay, sure. If it happens all season, it's an us problem, not they just made shots. No, it's not that, and it's not that. It's not that. It doesn't happen game after game after game after game for months.
Blitzing with a team like that, blitzing opens up more 3-point shooting. If you commit 2 guys to the ball, that means somebody else is open. So, they're a good team.
That's why you rotate. Oh my God, dude. What the Yes, you have to leave somebody, but that's why you rotate to ball and make them make enough passes where you can rotate out of the trap so that you don't give up an open 3. And we were already giving up a ton of 3s anyway, right? Like, that is the whole thing with him, is like, bro, he talks to the media knowing that the media doesn't really know anything in regards to, like, defensive schemes. You know what I mean? If you, let me just I got to rant on this for a second. Let me pull out the clipboard. Let me pull out the good old clipboard. If you want to make a point, I'll let you say something to that while I pull this out.
Let me just say this. He makes it sound like there's only two things you can do: blitz the pick or switch it. Mm-hmm. And there's like 10 different things you can do. Like, there's so many options you can do, and especially when it's like, if Nurk is guarding Daniel Tice or whatever, and he's the one setting the pick, you don't have to worry about him being open for a 3-point shot. Like, that's stupid. But like,
yeah,
showing and recovering on a pick, which you can show on this diagram, does not involve letting someone be open for a 3. And if you rotate correctly and get back in time and do it quickly enough, there's absolutely no reason why it should lead to more open 3s. Mm-hmm. And then once again, this goes back to, we give up. We're one of the worst defending teams shooting the 3. So, like, what does it matter if we give up more 3s? We can't get any worse than we are defending the 3. So, like, yeah.
So, like, oh, wait, no, I need to move backwards. There we go. All right. So you got point guard coming off a screen here, right? Red is the Blazers' defense. Blue is the opposing team's offense. If you blitz, right, this center rolls. Yes, he's open. This guy has to help over. Actually, no, you'd want to help from strong side, right? You'd want to help here.
It's mostly off the screen, so I can see what you're doing.
Is it? Let me figure it out.
You just got to move like it to only showing half court.
There we go. Right. So, first off, a good blitz, you don't easily give this up, right? We saw this in the Pelican series where the Blazers didn't easily get this pass from Dame to Nurkic because you had a good trap and didn't really have a passing window here, right? So you don't really want to allow this pass. But even if he gets it out, let me pull this forward. Even if he gets it out, this is Daniel Tice around the free throw line. Like, you kind of play center field here, right? While the center recovers back. You try and make Tice think about it so that the center can recover.
Or you drop the small forward. Or and let the shooting guard both of those guys until the center can recover back to that first pass. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's better. This is honestly the best offensive floor setup to exploit a trap. But yeah, so you have the center set this screen here, right? And then roll and they trap. You'd want to help from the side with 2 off-ball defenders instead of 1. So actually it wouldn't be the power forward. It'd be the small forward, right, helping onto the center. This shooting guard would split it in between, right? So hopefully if you're the small forward, you can shut this down and not allow this pass. If it's able to get through this trap, the small forward could hopefully be there. Or if you get the ball to Daniel Tice, the small forward could step up and defend. Or if he swings it here, this shooting guard rotates up. This small forward goes back there, so by the time the ball gets past there, this small forward is closing out and able to stop this shot, right? So
the center would recover back in the middle.
Yep, so I wish there was an easier way to show this. So in this situation, this is good help side rotation, right? Yes, you have one guy guarding 2 here, which is basically what Stotts saying. Stotts saying, oh, well, you have to leave somebody open if you blitz because you commit 2 to the ball. There has to be an offensive player open. But if you rotate properly, right, this shooting guard should be close enough to the small forward, 1 pass away, where if the ball gets past there, he's able to take that away, right? That takes time to pass from here to here. In that time, the small forward should already be rotating back. By the time the ball gets past the second time, the small forward should be closing out. You don't give up an open 3. And by that time, the center should be recovered. And you've completely neutralized the pick and roll, shut it down with a blitz, with a trap, without giving up an open 3 in that situation.
Yep. And then, the whole idea that we don't want to give up an open 3 when our current defense gives up so many open 3s, like, that's just crazy to me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Shout out to Brian Scalabrine if he's in here. I don't think he is, but he posted a link to Earl Watson's Instagram. I don't know if you saw that on Discord today.
No.
So I guess I got into a vortex of this, but Earl Watson has some he's standing in front of a TV showing plays and dissecting defenses and stuff.
Oh, that's dope.
And it made me think, like, we should hire that guy as our defensive coordinator because I loved what he was saying. And he played here for a season with Dame, and Dame I know really respects him from that year. He has a little bit of head coaching experience, even though it didn't go well for him. It was still the Phoenix Suns, so like how well of an opportunity did he actually get?
True.
But he was breaking down why the Toronto Raptors are always in the right positioning on pick and rolls and never give up too many open threes because of the way they rotate and the way they're positioned off the ball and the way their players react to whatever way the pick and roll goes or like whatever direction the player dribbles. And he mentions how there's different points on the floor where they're called, like he calls them activation points. So like if the guard gets to the elbow or something, that's an activation point, and then you want to switch what you're doing based on where he stops or where he tries to get to. And it was really fascinating to watch. I know it's kind of nerdy stuff, but like it was basically like what I wish I could do breaking down a Blazer game, you know?
Yeah.
I might have to do this and just have like a non-monetized video every once in a while, but like just like go through a game and then show like clips, videotape of me breaking down like why our defense falters in certain situations and stuff like that. So I thought it was pretty fascinating to hear like an actual player and coach talk about that kind of stuff.
What drives me crazy about that Stotts response though is like other teams do blitz and don't give up a bunch of open threes. Like you just explained, right? You're talking about other teams, the way they game plan defensively. There are teams out there that consistently blitz and don't give up open threes. Okay? So the whole response from Stotts like, oh, well, if you blitz, you just give up more open threes. Maybe if you're a bad coach team that doesn't know how to rotate on the backside, a good coach team can blitz without giving up a bunch of open threes. We see it with other teams. I think Blazer fans I think some Blazer fans need to watch more NBA basketball in general and watch how other teams play defense and actually try and focus on things that they're doing that we don't, right? Because it's not just oh, you blitz more, you give up more open threes. No, it's not that simple. The fact that he tried and make it that simple is almost just like insulting to the people asking him questions because he knows they'll buy it. That's the problem with that. So I wish I could have like a specific example to try and explain what I showed on this clipboard, like footage or something. I wish I had footage to show you guys. Without the thing is, I don't want to like risk the channel getting in trouble with copyright stuff, so that's why I don't do footage. But you can blitz the pick and roll without giving up more open threes. And the thing is, here's the other thing. One final point I want to make on this is, sure, this might lead to an open three, right? But our defense is doing right now is leading to open threes. This defense has more of a chance of getting a turnover, right? Maybe he tries to pass this out to the center and Nurkic gets a hand on the ball and it turns into a fast break opportunity the other way. All right. Maybe, maybe if you have this guy help over and they pass to the small forward and he drives, you can recover, like it's not just blitz equals threes, right? Sure. We already give up so many open threes. It's like, why not at least try and get a turnover then? Why not at least ratchet up the pressure and make them uncomfortable, keep them off balance where they don't know what we're going to do every defense possession?
And what you're talking about is straight out trapping, blitzing. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to do that. You can just have Nurk stand there for 1 second while the point guard comes around the screen and then allow that 1 second for Dame to get through the pick, and then Nurk recovers. If you do it right, you can do it to where either the center leaves too early and Dame doesn't get picked, so it's not a proper screen anyway. Or if you do it quick enough, you're never going to get far enough away from Tice in that situation to make it relevant to where he's going to be open. So you can just trap it for a second. But the problem is we just die on the screen and switch automatically, or we die on the screen and give up an open shot. And that's the problem. Like, he's saying we don't want to give up more open shots, but we do. Our philosophy is designed to basically give them an open shot. All they have to do is run one screen. So and that's what drives me crazy. Like, you can do different things out of there. It's just so frustrating.
You got love. Oh, the only thing we can do is we have to have Nurkic back here, right? And then when Dame gets strained, he just dies on it, and then the point guard dribbles up and has a wide open three. Or Or if you have Tatum with the ball, right, and run the screen a little lower, and you got Melo on Tatum, who Melo sucks at getting through screens, right? Oh, no, let's not provide him with help from the center, right? Let's just have Nurkic not even help Melo, not even come up here, maybe hedge, give Melo time to get through the screen and recover, right? Or, trap where Melo doesn't really have to focus on getting all the way through the screen. He can kind of like play up and pressure the ball. No, instead, we're going to have Nurkic all the way back here, and Jason Tatum, we're just going to let him dribble off screens and shoot from here. Jason Tatum gets going off of mid-range jumpers. He builds rhythm off of mid-range jumpers. That's always what gets him in a rhythm every time I watch him play a good game, right? That's why he went off against us earlier this year, and that's why he went off against us yesterday, is because we let him build a rhythm walking into mid-range jumpers here. And his form, he has a high set point, high release. Like, Nurkic can get a hand up, but Jason Tatum has the confidence that he's not going to get blocked if he has the type of space that Portland's defensive scheme was giving him, okay? Just because of the way he shoots the ball and how big he is. So he knows coming off the screen. He knows before the screens even gets here. He knows in this situation, if they're going to run a pick and roll, he knows he just has to dribble to here and shoot. He knows that 5 seconds in advance that he's going to have the opportunity. Any pick and roll he comes off of, he knows that that's a shot that's going to be open to him. So he's going to shoot it with a lot of confidence, right? Screens coming. Okay, he knows the big is sitting back here because it's the only defensive scheme we run. So he knows exactly what the big is doing. If you watch film on us before a game, you know exactly how we're going to guard the pick and roll because we don't switch things up, which is why we should switch things up more. So a guy like Jason Tatum doesn't know exactly where this big guy is going to be, and he doesn't know automatically that he can just walk into a mid-range pull-up from here, right? So, but no, we run one defensive scheme, sag Nurkic, provide Melo no help on the screen. Melo dies on the screen. Jason Tatum walks into a wide-open or a semi-contested mid-range pull-up that he shoots with a lot of confidence because he knows he can get it off and because he knows that it's going to be available to him, right? It doesn't make any sense.
And the whole idea of, they just made shots. Yes, no team is going to score 0 points. It's never happened in the history of the NBA. Like, teams are going to still score. Tatum is a great player. He's still going to hit shots over Nurkic or do things that, like, stars do. Like, there was a play where Nurk played great defense, but Tatum still got into the paint and shot, like, a high-arcing shot that rimmed in over him. And that stuff's going to happen. That is an example of there's nothing you could do about it. Like, you did everything you could, and they still made a tough shot. But you can't just give up open threes and be so terrible at defending the three and then just be like, oh, well, they just made shots. Because we didn't do anything to run them off the three-point line. So, like, that doesn't make sense that they would make shots. Of course, they're NBA players. They're going to make threes if you're not defending it right. So the point is to lower their percentages of how often they make it. And yes, if you run a blitz and it doesn't work, it's not going to work every time. So, like, to say you ran it once and it didn't work, I don't know if he's gotten to that point yet.
I don't think I've gotten to that point. Yeah, let me play it. Let me put it back up on the screen. Oh, whoops! I didn't want to do that. Whatever just happened. Let's see here. Yeah, it's downsized. Whatever. Barely get him on the screen. He's not going to be centered because it'll like make my thing. Oh, wait, no, there we go. Okay, cool. There we go. Let me play this.
It's up more 3-point shooting. If you commit 2 guys to the ball, that means somebody else is open. So, I mean, they're a good team. They move the ball really well. They make good reads. Jaylen Brown going 4 for 4 in the fourth, made big threes in the fourth quarter, but they still shot a good percentage in the second half. I just thought we played. Obviously, we played a lot better offensively in the second half, which made it a little bit easier on our defense. But it's they pose a lot of problems with their personnel.
Next question's coming from.
I didn't hear him say anything about only trying it once. Was it somewhere else in the stream or?
It might be the last.
Okay, let me play the last question. Because I want to actually hear it from his mouth, because that's ridiculous. You'd only try something once and it doesn't work when what you've been trying all game hasn't been working.
Jerry, you did make a defensive change, though. You did start sending 2 guys at Tatum. Can you remember exactly when you kind of made that call to play it that way?
Yeah, it was out of timeout. Matter of fact, we blitzed them and they hit a 3. So I can't say that it necessarily worked out too well, but I think we went back to trying to be more aggressive. But like I said, you kind of have to pick your poison. But it was, I don't know, you can go back on the play-by-play. Whenever Gordon Hayward hit a 3 on the left wing, that's when we doubled.
Yeah.
So one play. Gordon Hayward hit a 3. So the one play we did, it didn't work. It's like, oh, bro, I have a headache right now. Like, I don't understand what the. They hit threes all game, man. They hit threes all game. Where's the attitude? Like, oh, well, we ran the drop scheme and they hit 10 threes, so maybe we should switch it up. No, it's like, oh, well, we run the drop scheme and they shoot 60% and hit 1,000,000 threes, whatever. Oh, but the one time we decided to blitz the pick and roll, they hit a 3. So can't do it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Like, the logic here is so confounding, man. It doesn't... One time and it was the same result as the rest of the game. How do you know it's any worse based off of one time when we suck based on the scheme we normally run?
And I wish we could play the play he's talking about, because I guarantee you someone blew a rotation on the backside, and that's why it was open, not because the blitz
I'm tempted.
necessarily didn't work.
I don't know the timestamp. I was going to say, I'm tempted to pull it up like here. I think it would be fine, and if I get copyright, I'd risk the copyright or whatever. But I don't know the timestamp of the game, so I'm not going to play it. But
I have the game recorded. I might just post a video like on Discord of me breaking down some
post
of that
on Twitter
stuff.
too. Post it on Twitter. The one time they blitzed, here's why it didn't work. So-and-so blew their rotation. Explain it on Twitter for all the people that think, you can't do anything but drop the big. God, man, that pisses me off. Terry Stotts interviews pisses me off. You shouldn't have made me listen to a Terry Stotts interview on air, man.
I knew you would love it. That's why I made you.
It gets me so aggravated.
Hey, Trevin, find me the game stamp of what time in the game.
When Gordon Hayward. Terry Stotts told you to find the time.
Quarter 3 or whatever.
Yeah. I'll say screw it and play it on stream in a different window, smaller. It would probably be fine. I'm not gonna trip about it, and this is the second channel anyway.
But yeah,
so.
like you said, it was one freaking play. Like, yeah. We have like hundreds of examples of the regular off defense not working, but let's take one example and say, oh, see, nothing else works other than my great defense that stops players at the 27th or 28th best rate or worst rate in the league. Yeah.
God, man, it drives me insane, bro. So anyway, let's recap the NBA. Let's preview this Houston Rockets game before we sign off here. Let me pull up the scores on ESPN. There might be an ad that randomly plays. I apologize if that happens. I will try to mute things.
Philadelphia tried to give a game away against the Spurs, but they pulled it out at the end.
Yeah.
Your boy Shake Milton with the big
let me just go down the list here. You got Toronto beating Miami 107-103. Held the Heat to 103 points. The Raptors did, because they have a phenomenal coach. They do have good defensive personnel, but their head coach is maybe my favorite head coach in the league. It's him or Mike Budenholzer, man. I love Nick Nurse and Mike Budenholzer. The Raptors take care of business there. They moved to 48-18.
Speaking of that, the coach of the year was announced today.
Yeah, their co-coaches of the year, Budenholzer and Billy Donovan. I think Chris Paul deserved it more for the Thunder than Billy Donovan, to be honest, because Billy Donovan sucks. And the only reason that team has done so well and played such a good brand of basketball is you have maybe the smartest point guard in the league. Like, I'm not a Chris Paul fan, kind of crummy human, but he's a very, very, and not even a crummy human. He's just kind of an asshole on the court. I didn't want to make it sound like he's like a crummy human. I don't know how he is off the court or that type of thing. Just definitely not a fan of him on the court. That was just me rambling, talking too fast and misspeaking. So I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of his, obviously, but he's a very smart basketball player. Right. And he, I think he did more for that team than Billy Donovan did this year, to be honest, in terms of the style of play department.
This was like just voted on by the coaches, though. I think there's
so it's not like the official one. And Nick Nurse barely was one vote away from making it a 3-way tie.
I wonder if it's like, because like there's some older coaches that, like Terry Stotts always has like a ton of respect. Obviously, no one's going to vote for him this year because the team's not even over 500 and not in the playoff picture. But like, you have to wonder if like there's just some like politics in the voting there.
Yeah, you have to wonder. There definitely will probably be some bias with that. But the Nuggets beat the Thunder 121-113. In
Boy,
overtime,
Michael Porter Jr.
led by Michael Porter Jr., who in 44 minutes scored 37 points, 12 rebounds. I'll have to watch the footage back to see if any of those buckets actually impressed me. We know he can shoot. He plays in one of the best offenses in the league with a center who probably set him up beautifully, as Jokic had a triple-double, 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Put him in a different offense where he doesn't have the benefit of playing next to a guy like Jokic, and make him the guy, the number one option. I think he struggles still because he's more of a, at this point he's more of a guy who scores within the flow of the offense instead of a guy who will go get his. He's not like a Damian Lillard type of scorer. He's not an alpha scorer in my opinion. But 37 points still a high number. I'll have to see if any of those buckets are impressive. If anybody has no idea what I'm talking about, it's this whole Twitter thing. Jokic's stat line was more impressive. He had 30, 12, and 10. OKC had 24 from SGA, 23 from Chris Paul, 20 from Gallinari. Bol Bol only played 4 minutes. All the hype for Bol Bol, and he only played 4 minutes. He can't get on the court. That's a guy who's a bit overhyped at this point. I'm just hating on the Nuggets here, but whatever. Any thoughts? Bol Bol's overhyped, isn't he?
They were missing a bunch of players. But yeah.
Yeah, Bol Bol's overhyped. I'm sorry to say it, but Bol Bol's, yes, he's huge with a wingspan and can shoot, and is Manute Bol's son. I mean, like, those are the reasons he's a bit overhyped. Thon Maker in high school was like, oh my God, Thon Maker's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like, any super big guy with a cool story, cool name, can shoot, has some guard skills as a big guy, and has like a ton of length. Like, those guys seem to always get a bit overhyped. People talking about Bol Bol like he's like some really good player without even playing an NBA game going into this bubble is just ridiculous, I thought.
And real quick, thanks Super Mario for finding that. I'll look and see if that's the play that Stotts was talking about or not. But yeah, Denver was missing a ton of guys. I'm hoping they're still all out for our game. Malone was asked before the game if this was a playoff game, if those guys would still all be out, or if this was kind of, they're kind of on the fence. And he said they would absolutely not play even if it was a playoff game because they're that hurt. So they're having a lot of issues right now. I think Jamal Murray has like a hamstring thing. Gary Harris is hurt. I think one of their other wings is hurt. So yeah, they have some issues right now. It'd be nice to play them soon.
Alvaro says Denver is going to be a dynasty. I hate to say it. Man, they have one player on their roster who's an all-star. There's a higher than 50% chance that nobody other than Jokic on that roster becomes an all-star, in my opinion. I think that there is a higher than 50% chance that none of those other guys ever become an all-star. So dynasty, no. They just have a lot of overhyped young players. You got Michael Porter Jr. overhyped. I don't think he's a future all-star. You got Bol Bol overhyped. I don't think he's a future all-star. Jamal Murray is the only one that might become a future all-star, but at this point, I think he kind of is what he's going to be. And it's hard. He's going to be like, CJ McCollum could have made it in the East, right? But he hasn't made an all-star game. It's hard to make it as a guard in the West. So you got one all-star on that team, and he's probably not even a top 10 player. He's a borderline top 10 player, right? Wouldn't put him above Dame. You know what I mean? So the whole Denver is going to be a dynasty. I don't buy into that hype for them at all.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good for a while. I mean, Jokic and Murray are still pretty good. Mm-hmm. If Michael Porter Jr. develops better than you think he's going to develop, it's.
But here's the thing, though. They're going to lose Millsap, who's a really good defender, right? And replace him with Michael Porter Jr. at the 4? long term. Their defense.
You'd think they would re-sign one of Jeremy Grant and Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah,
but they could keep Millsap. He's more. I'd be more worried about his age than necessarily whether to keep him or not. But they have a chance to keep him, especially in this situation coming up where.
Oh yeah, I'm just speaking like long term because he's up there in age. Yeah, I mean they should keep Millsap, but here's the thing: like 5 years from now, it's gonna be like what Bol is the starting four. I don't think him defensively will ever be good at the four. Just because of the, he's a setter. Michael Porter Jr. at the 3, not a good defender. Jamal Murray, his defense has improved, but he's not a good defender. Jokic, his defense has improved, but not a good defender, right? You have a bunch of, mediocre defenders. And to be a dynasty, to be, a legitimate top 3-4 team in the league, you have to have a good defense. And none of their young core guys are good defenders. I don't think they'll ever be good defenders. Let alone, that's if Bol and Michael Porter Jr. can stay healthy, which there are serious health concerns long term with those two guys as well. So that's why I don't just buy, they're going to be a future dynasty, man. I don't buy that. People talk too much. People project players too much off of age instead of what their potential ceiling is, right? Nasir Little and Gary Trent Jr. are close in age. There's a lot more room for growth in Nasir Little's game from where he is now to where his ceiling is than Gary Trent Jr., right? So even though they're the same age, people say too much, they're just so young, so they're going to be automatically so good. I think Jamal Murray is close to his ceiling. And Michael Porter Jr., he'll obviously get better, but I don't know. I don't think he has as high of a ceiling as people think. Same with Bol.
He's balled out in a few games, though. It's hard to...
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, he's balled out, but I don't know, man. He's going to be a scorer. Like Danilo Gallinari, if he dropped 37, people would be like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, not a huge shock, right? I think he might be a little bit better than Danilo Gallinari is, but, that's not an all-star caliber player, right? He'll be a 21-point-per-game scorer and won't provide anything else.
The other thing about Michael Porter Jr., I always thought if he was healthy, he'd be a pretty good player. I'm not as down on him as you are. But the thing is, I mean, he missed pretty much his entire 1 year in college. And he missed his entire first year. And did he play much this year? He played a little bit, right?
Played 20 games.
So there's not a lot of tape on him, even college, back to college. So it'll be interesting to see once teams start to see him actually play and figure out ways to stop him. But wait, never mind. Coaches can't design a game plan or a defensive scheme, so never mind. I don't know.
He's gonna average 35 points per game because of that. Coach, they can't do anything, so he's just gonna go off.
Yep.
But
so,
yeah.
I found the play. If you want me to talk about it now, or do you want to finish why don't you finish recapping?
I mean, I got to work a couple more hours tonight, so I want to wrap this up pretty soon.
I just want to tell you what happened on it.
Okay. What is the? I'm gonna play it on stream. Screw it, YOLO. What time stamp was it?
Here.
What time stamp of the game? Because I'll pull up the highlights right now.
It was third quarter, 7:30. It starts at about 7:40 left.
Okay, because I want to react to it, and then I'll see if I say the same thing that you said was the issue with it.
It's so stupid because something happens that makes the play not a legit defensive possession anyway. So yeah.
You said how much left in the third?
It starts at around 7:40 left in the third.
7:40 on the clock. Okay, on the game clock.
Third. Yep.
Okay. Wow, this full highlights doesn't have it. Let me find a different one.
I can send you a link if you want.
I'm a MLG. What play were you? Let's see if MLG has it. Yeah, MLG has it. Okay. So, YOLO, just because this is the second channel, and because of the way I'm showing it, it probably won't result in anything bad, hopefully. This is weird playing footage on a stream.
Give a shout out to MLG Highlights. Thanks for letting us use your video.
He's not letting us, and that guy's kind of questionable because True Blazer fan actually talked to him, and I don't know. Gave bad advice, not like questionable him, just like gave us some bad advice. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I don't know. I'm not against him. I'm not trying to talk bad about him, but we don't need to give shout outs. We don't need to give shout outs to him because it ain't his footage, you know. Mm-hmm. He just edited it. So anyway, so here's the play we're talking about. All right, so they won the blitz. There's the blitz with Nurkic and Dame, which Dame stumbles on. Is that what you're talking about? The thing that happened?
Yeah. So Dame falls over. So right there, you have to know that if you blitz, like in that situation, you just have to switch, right? Mm-hmm. So that should have been an automatic. Like Dame shouldn't have gone and then trapped them because now it's too late to go and trap. So like already right there, Dame slipping kind of ruins the whole defensive setup. But as we were talking about in the video or the clipboard thing you showed, you have the two players on one side of the court on the top of your screen.
Setup.
Yep. So they have those two players stay home until the pass is made. Instead, Zach comes off of Hayward and goes to Tice, leaving that wide open. Where this should have been CJ down there guarding Tice, and then you CJ have Zach out there. Yeah, one of those two, and then you have Zach staying at home on Hayward there.
You want one of CJ or Melo playing in between these two guys, right? So whoever's playing in between these two guys takes the first pass. If CJ's here and Melo rotates down to Tice, if the ball gets passed there to Jaylen Brown, CJ would go out to guard Jaylen Brown. When that happens, you have Nurkic running back to Tice, Melo running back to the corner to get smart, to get the second guy, right? So one guy helps, takes first pass. Or one guy splits these two guys, takes the first pass. The guy who helps down onto Tice takes the second pass because that should give him enough time to get all the way back out there so you don't have to have Collins being the one to split two here.
And then by that time, either Nurk or Dame can recover back into the middle.
Yep, so you want to rotate from the side that has two guys on it because you can leave one guy over there to take whoever the ball gets passed to first. If you have the guy help from the guy with only one guy on it, you don't have a second defender over here to take the first pass to Hayward. Zach has to run all the way back from Tice all the way to Hayward, so that's why Hayward's wide open. So this isn't how they should be rotating on the backside, right? This is a perfect example of us not knowing how to properly rotate on a blitz pick and roll. You rotate from the side with more offensive players on it because it's easier to rotate that way. Real
quick, happy birthday, Trevin. Enjoy your day. I hope you have a great one.
Yep, happy birthday, man.
Hope it's special for you, man. We love you.
So that's what makes me mad is they're not rotating properly.
Okay, so before Tatum even makes the pass, we have a situation where Dame stumbled and shouldn't have gone after them. So we have to know that if you don't have the trap or the blitz working right away, you just abandon it and just pick up the nearest guy. So he should have, when he fell over, he should have recovered back to Hayward. Yeah, he should have stopped and then turned around and ran back to Hayward, and then Collins could pick up there. You have a tough switch with Tatum on Nurk, but at least you have someone covering each of the five guys. And then so before Tatum's even made the pass, we have that problem. And then we also have, like you mentioned, players out of position. So this is when you talk about how it didn't work right. We had two things going against it before he even makes this pass.
Yep. And then they're not rotating properly when he does make this pass. Because the thing is, if Dame was trapping right away, Tatum would have less room to make this pass, and it's probably harder. It probably comes out slower, flutters a little bit more, might get deflected, would give Collins more time anyway, with Collins being the one to help. But Collins shouldn't be the one helping in the first place. It should be somebody from the strong side.
And even if he gets this pass off, you look how far out you pushed him. If you're in the right position, he's halfway between the three-point line and half court when he makes that pass, instead of coming off that curl and being wide open for a three or getting into the paint. So if you want to tell me that making him make a tough cross-court pass 5 feet behind the 3-point line is worse than him coming clean off a pick, that's just crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if we were in the right
into
positions, it wouldn't even have been an issue if we would have been in the right position. But yeah,
because that's the thing. It's like if you have CJ split these guys and take first pass, right? It's going to take a little bit of time from the ball to get here all the way down to the corner. If Melo's like kind of around here, he doesn't have to be all the way on Tice, just close enough to Tice where if Tatum throws him the ball, it's going to take time for the ball to get there. So Melo just needs to be close enough to be able to get a hand on this pass. So Melo just has to be around this line right here, right? That would be proper positioning. That it's going to take so much time to get the ball, either throw it all the way down to here or pass to Brown, who passes it to there, that Melo would have enough time to get from this line out to the corner, right? So you're not going to just give up an open three if you do this right.
There is no way from this angle Tatum can get the pass to Tice effectively either, because he's got Dirk in between him with his hands up, and he wouldn't even have seen Tice. He can see Hayward because he turns around and sees him across court because he's got Dame coming from that side. But where Tice is, Nurk pushed him out. He's fading backwards. It'd be really difficult to make that pass over Nurk and put it on the money to Tice, even if he was wide open in that situation.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, they're not rotating right, and
but we tried it.
That's a coaching thing. That's a coaching thing. Either they don't coach them how to rotate properly while blitzing the pick and roll, or the players haven't blitzed the pick and roll enough this season to know how to properly rotate on the backside, so they execute it wrong, right? So that's the problem.
Who knows what would happen if Dame doesn't slip either, I mean, he might have trapped him harder and, you could have forced a turnover or something. You never know what would have happened.
So just based off this one play, can't try it again. Instead, we're going to let Jason Tatum walk into wide open threes. Drives me crazy, man. Drives me crazy. This is exactly how I diagrammed it with the clipboard, man.
So, real quick, once he makes the pass, CJ does rotate right after the pass is made. If you continue it on, so everything, they're in the wrong position now, but they do get into the right position. Yeah. So you see CJ comes over to Tice once the shot goes up and boxes him out, and Collins tries to get out on the shooter. But why is he playing behind Tice too? He should have been playing kind of in between Tice and Hayward. So even if he was caught on those two guys, he's still in position to guard both of them. But yeah,
and this should be short up by this time. We're 10 months into the season, right? They should have watched enough film on this, like we're doing now, to be able to properly execute this. But the thing is, I wish CJ would be. I think Collins is worried about pass here, but CJ I think should have maybe a foot in the paint, right? You have a trap here, right? He's 2 passes away. It's going to be a hard pass for Tatum to get the ball from here to the corner, and he's going to have to get some arc on it probably because he's trapped by a 7-footer. CJ can have a foot in the paint and get out to Marcus Smart and not give up a 3. And if he has a foot in the paint, that means Collins doesn't have to come so far over. Collins could be a little bit closer to Hayward, a little bit more in between these guys. And in that scenario, given how long this pass takes, if Collins was 3 feet closer to Hayward, he might get. Because he got caught up on Tice here, too.
He gets caught behind him. And now he bangs a little bit, and that slows him down, and then he has to try to go around him once the pass is made. If he's just playing, kind of fronting him to the top side, but on the side where Hayward is, but has a hand, right in his face, even if he's right up on him, he could just easily turn around and be right there on Hayward. Instead, he gets caught up behind him. It gives Hayward a wide open shot. He has to go around him. That takes too much time. Wide open.
So he could have been right here. He could have blocked this shot. He could have been, if he was 3 feet closer to begin with and didn't get caught up, he's going to get out on this in time. So that's the thing, is there's a lot that went wrong with this defense. It's not because we didn't give up a 3 just because we blitzed and that just automatically gives up 3s, right? We should have rotated differently, but even rotating like this, which I don't think is the optimal way to rotate, we still could have done a better job of doing it that way if Collins didn't go all the way down like he did and then get caught up on Tice, and instead maybe you had CJ put a foot in the paint. So that's the whole thing, is there were so many things that went wrong on this defensive play that are correctable. We didn't give up this 3 because of scheme, but yet Stotts is sitting here acting like the only, oh, well, when you blitz, you just give up 3s, and that's just what happens, so that's why we didn't try it again. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? No. It's bullshit, man. It's absolute bullshit. And this is the reason why I get pissed off at the coaching of this team.
It's a perfect example too of how we just die on picks. Like, I don't understand how we don't coach our players to get through picks better than what happens here. Dame just runs right into the pick and stops basically, and then gets pushed over by Dice. But
Dame should be closing.
Instead of going skinny, you have to get skinny and go vertical between those two. Instead, he's completely wide-footed, horizontal, and is caught in a position where Tice can easily pick him off, and there's nothing Dame can do to get around him quickly.
Yeah, or he could even be this positioned if he was up more. If he was up more on his hip, because Nurkic, you don't want Nurkic to give Tatum a gap between Tice and Nurkic where Tatum can like split it and go downhill, right? That would be a dunk. And Nurkic does a good job of that, right?
Because if you blitz, you shouldn't be that far under the pick. You should be above the pick, coming from like trailing him right on his butt. And you shouldn't have allowed yourself to get that far behind him on the blitz. So that's not an effective blitz. That's not even a blitz. That was I got picked off and we had to switch for a second, and then I tried to recover and we kind of half-assed double teamed him, and then I made a pass and it was wide open. That's not a blitz.
Dame should have been sprinting up to Tatum's hip. You want to get attached to his hip in this situation. Dame like stopped and got a wide stance here. See, like, he should be running with Tatum. Instead, he like stops and like lets Tatum get away from him, and then he dies on the pick. He should be attached to Tatum's hip. He should be attached to Tatum's hip, running with Tatum. Instead, he stops, gets wide stance, and gets stuck in quicksand, basically, and then loses his balance. Like, that's the whole thing. Is like, they don't know how to properly get through picks. You just trail Tatum through the pick, attached to his hip, and allow Nurkic to trap him, right? If you're going to blitz a pick and roll, that's how you get through the screen. You make sure Nurkic doesn't give up a gap there, and you have Lillard attached to his hip where he doesn't get screened. Instead, he's attached to his hip. He'd still be attached to his hip, and this would be a much better double team than that was. And that pass, Dame could have gotten a hand on that pass if he was attached to Tatum. If he was attached to Tatum, he could have gotten a hand on this. So that's the whole thing. He didn't get through the screen properly. He slipped. At that point, the trap's already kind of ruined, and that allowed that pass in the first place. So there were so many things that went wrong on this play.
And that's one good thing. That's one of Ariza's like best qualities that doesn't show up in stats or anything. He is great at navigating through those picks and getting around them without actually getting slowed down or stopped. And that's what you have to do to be a good defender.
People will say, well, there's your example. It's just personnel. No, Lillard at this point should be better at getting through screens. If it was drilled hard enough, if it was coached enough, Lillard would be better at getting through the screens, because this isn't like he's deficient in this area because he's not athletic enough, or, it's not like, Carmelo Anthony getting beat on the perimeter because he doesn't have enough lateral quickness. That's like a player deficiency that a coach can't really correct. This is all about like footwork and positioning and like the whole, it's like a mental thing. It's a mental thing that isn't a problem that you can't fix. But the thing is, this has always been a problem with Lillard and other guys on this team, and they haven't improved. And that is a coaching thing. It's not like, this player's just efficient, nothing Stotts can do. No, coach them to have better footwork getting through the screen. If you're going to blitz, have them attached to Tatum's hip, playing up higher, and not doing that.
And then if you say, okay, this just happens to be one play where Dame got caught wide-footed. He knows better not to do it. He's been coached not to do it, whatever. Then the coach can't tell us that this one play is the reason why they don't run this scheme, because they didn't run it right. So you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
So either they're not teaching the screen, or Stotts is using a play where the personnel didn't do what he requires them to do as a reason for not running this scheme. So either way, it's on the coach and it's dumb. So don't give me an excuse that he doesn't have the personnel to do it, because he's flat out telling you that he doesn't want to do it because this play it wasn't even coached correctly, and he's saying, "Oh, see, it doesn't work."
Mm-hmm.
But
he's focused on the result instead of the execution aspect of it.
You have all these guys that will never question him. Like, they will never say, "Hey, that one play like, if Quick went to him, we should all go on Twitter and tell Quick to follow up with that question and say, "Hey, look, man, if you go back and look at that play, that wasn't a proper play for him to judge a whole thing not working on that one play because it wasn't coached properly and they weren't in the right position." So if you want to base that on coaching and not the blitz not working right, you need to follow up to them and say, "Hey, why is Dame going through the pick that flat-footed and not going around the pick? And why does him stumbling on a play result in you not thinking it can work on any other time ever?" And but we don't have people that follow up with those questions, so it's just really frustrating.
That is frustrating with the whole media.
Film. They should have seen that. Like, Stotts should be on film and be like, "Oh, you know what? I was wrong. Like, that wasn't a good example. I might go back to it another time to see if it works." Because that play, I thought it was broken down a certain way, but when I went back and looked at the film, I saw something different, and Dame was out of position. We're going to try to coach him to be better positioned to see if it works better next time.
Yep.
Instead, it's always like, "Oh, well, my system works better, so I'm just going to keep going back to that. It's not my fault Dame didn't shoot 3. Like, nothing is his fault. Like, take some freaking accountability and stick up for your team, man. It's freaking ridiculous."
I don't want to be a guy who's like, "Oh, well, if you're in media, you didn't play basketball. You're I don't want to talk down on people in media for not playing basketball, but if you never played high school or college basketball, you probably don't know how to break down film like we just did. You probably don't know how to. You probably don't really know how to notice some of these things with the rotation. I mean, people, you can learn these type of things, but I think there's people in media that don't really know how to break basketball down to this level, and don't know defensive rotations behind a blitz and what they should be, and don't, notice these type of things with breaking it down. The only reason I say that is because those same people are the ones calling us idiots.
Yeah. Or
which
saying
is ridiculous.
That there's nothing they can do to fix it.
Yeah. Which is ridiculous. So we provide you that intellectual analysis here. That's what we do.
I just want to say, for the record, if I would have watched that play and they were in perfect position, I would have admitted that they did everything right and they hit a 3. I wouldn't agree that you should base your entire defensive philosophy on one play not working. I don't think that should ever be the case because, like I said, these are NBA players. They're going to hit shots sometimes. But, that wasn't the case. And Stotts actually said during postgame that was why he didn't go to a certain defensive philosophy. And now, how can you say that he's a great coach when he's telling you that a reason he's not trying something that could actually work is because of one play where it didn't work when it wasn't coached right to begin with. So it's just really frustrating because people will just say, "Oh, see, he got to the Western Conference Finals." Well, you have guys like Dame who went crazy in the first round. You have CJ go crazy in the second round. That almost happened yesterday, despite one of the worst coached games of the year. We still almost came back and won because Dame is freaking phenomenal and almost carried us to victory because he's a superstar and a top 10 player in this league.
It's just mistakes like this are the difference between whether we make playoffs this year or don't,
Yep.
Stuff like this. So Alvaro says the media doesn't even know how much cap space teams have. LOL, cough, cough, Bleacher Report. Well, Jason Quick on trade deadline day didn't even know what our tax situation was. So, I mean, when it comes to the CBA, when it comes to the team salary cap situation, when it comes to actually breaking down film, we are your top-notch stop for that type of stuff because
I really wish we could just that's what's going to be cool about the game stream because we could talk about stuff without worrying about copyright because it's unlisted, right?
Well, we can't we can't play the game.
I know we can't play the game, but I mean, we could dissect it during a timeout maybe or something. I don't know.
But it will be on my cable TV, so I won't have it connected to my stream setup.
Oh, right.
So
Okay.
I can't like dissect the footage. But
Yeah.
I do want to do like reaction videos and stuff, but that's for like my channel members. I plan on getting one out after the next game, but I'm going to make like half of them free, half of them for my channel members.
Yeah.
So if you're not a member to the main channel, go sign up for that membership. All right. I'm going to do it half and half. Eric, I'm sure you'd love to do it. I could show you how to set it up for nights that I don't feel like doing it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or like, I don't know, because I'd let, I know you'd have fun doing that as well. No editing. I just hit record, go over it, kind of like a stream, and then end the recording. It's a very easy process. So,
Man, I so wish we could just like timestamp certain things in the game and break them down like we just did. That'd be so fun. Like, I know it's kind of nerdy and specialized to certain people, but yeah.
When I have my own studio, I might try and figure out a way where I could easily like clip, because some people do that. Nate Mann does that, where you easily clip footage from the game and tweet it out quickly. I wonder if there's a way where I could talk over that and put out, like, during a timeout, have a clip loaded up where I talk about that clip and have it like posted on Twitter by the end of the timeout or something like that. You know what I mean? Saying like going over and analyzing a clip. That would be dope, man. That would be dope to do. That would be top-notch Twitter content.
Yeah, because, I mean, like,
And then
Worldwide Wob and
Yep.
all those kind of guys post videos constantly, and how do they do it?
Yep. So, and then you guys, when Dan Meringue asks weird questions or Chad Doing says stuff, you could post that clip at them. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So next season, that'll be something that I'll try to do. So anyway, gotta preview this game before we sign off.
That's a good idea by Mini Tooth. We could use our Instagram page for doing stuff like that.
True.
Like,
That's
actually
also
use
true.
it. Yeah.
Which would be easy to do. Because if I was able to have a video made super quickly, a short little clip talking about a play, yeah. So that could be dope. Or I could like post it on like a story and have like a running story on Instagram, because you have Instagram stories. You could have it for game days. A stream of just like going over certain stuff. I just feel like it'd be so much critique. You know what I mean? I'd want it to have like be like a balance, like.
Yeah, I mean,
I could get hyped at like
too.
Dame doing insane stuff. That would be kind of fun. Shoot, I might try and make that my Twitter niche. That might be what finally gets me to 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And if I figure out a way to do it, I'll maybe try and help you figure out a way to do it.
Videos definitely help.
That would be, bro. We would be the top Blazer follows on YouTube for sure if we did that.
On YouTube or Twitter?
On Twitter. We already are on YouTube, or we already are the top follows on YouTube. But yeah. So anyway, let's preview this game. I hope they start Trent. They should start Trent, even if it's moving Melo to the 4, right? Like, if you have to start Melo, start Trent at the 3 and move Melo to the 4. They're not going to, and I will complain about it tomorrow when it doesn't happen. But they're a small team, right? You need a good perimeter defender to put on James Harden. Damian Lillard will get up to defend Russell Westbrook, right? You need Gary Trent Jr. at the 3 to go up against James Harden. They play small anyway. You can have CJ guard whoever the 3 is and be fine. Okay, Melo can guard Covington, who's not like the hardest cover and who just spots up because they ISO so much. Like, Melo could be fine in that situation. Then you have Nurkic guarding Tucker. I mean, if you might have to live with some PJ Tucker 3s, if Nurkic has to protect the rim. But that is how we need to line up against them with the starting lineup.
Did you see the play from the Dallas Houston game where Doncic just like lobs it to Boban? Did you happen to catch that?
No. Because Houston was so small, he just...
Boban just, like, sealed him, like, next to the hoop, and Doncic just kind of, like, lobs it up, and Boban just stands there, catches the ball, and, like, lays it in, like, all in one motion, because, like, no one on Houston was, like, a foot close to him in size. It was so hilarious. I wish we'd do more stuff like that to take advantage of our size, because, honestly, we should just be running through Nurk the entire game. But yeah, it almost looked like a shot. But
yeah,
it might have been a shot actually. But
that's so funny. Oh my goodness! Because who do you have on him? Is that Daniel House?
Daniel House,
yeah. That's funny, man. Is that who they've been starting at the 3?
I think so. Once Gordon Gordon went out, yeah.
So Westbrook, Harden, Daniel House, Covington, and Tucker. That's the starting lineup.
Yeah.
We got to run things through Nurk early, man.
Yep.
We got to run things through Nurk. Get him good position early. PJ
The
Tucker's
thing
strong,
is,
but like we should be able to eat.
Tucker, he's got a strong base.
Yeah.
So I don't want Nurk to try to back him down because he also tries to pull the chair a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he also will take the contact and fall over, so it's like an offensive foul.
Yeah.
So you got to be really careful with Tucker not to try and bully him. But like, I wish Nurk would just catch the ball and just turn around and shoot over him because like Tucker's not a shot blocker, so you could just do that every time.
Give Nurkic space to go around him. That's why even offensively it makes more sense to go with Gary Trent Jr. at the 3 and Melo at the 4 against Houston because that's better spacing than Melo and Collins because Trent is a much better shooter than Collins, right? So you'd have 4 good 3-point shooters out there to give Nurkic that space to take advantage of that mismatch. So like honestly, like Trent and Melo or Trent and Collins, I have no preference. I honestly might, believe it or not, I might favor a Trent Melo starting lineup tomorrow more than a Trent Collins starting lineup just because they are smaller and because that would give
Melo's
Nurkic the extra space.
no matter what. So
I know that for sure. I'm just speaking hypothetically. Yeah. Like, there's no reason Gary Trent should not start over Zach Collins tomorrow. There's no reason. It makes all the sense in the world. And that's not even an indictment against Zach Collins. It's just a matchup game. And that's the best matchup to do.
The only possible thing I can say to that is we don't really have another backup guard that's playing right now. So if you start Trent, then
he can still play all the backup guard minutes. Because
know,
Dame and CJ are playing like they played 44 and 41 minutes last game, right? So that leaves you 15 minutes out of backup guard. You could play Gary Trent Jr. You could play him half the minutes at small forward and 15 minutes a game as the backup guard, as the only backup guard. And that would play him 39 minutes. Maybe that's a little too much for people, but you could play him 20 minutes at small forward and 15 minutes at the backup guard and have backup guard completely covered and still give him 20 minutes at small forward, you know? Because that's how much Dame and CJ are playing. So you don't have to bring Gary Trent Jr. off the bench to have him be the only, like, third-string guard, right?
I just think I agree that you can do the rotations. It's just makes it a lot more complicated when you're starting all 3 of your guards that get minutes versus having one off the bench. But I mean, I'm not disagreeing that he deserves to start or anything. But if we're not playing Simons at all, it kind of... It makes it a little difficult.
You sub CJ out a little bit earlier than Dame. Keep Trent in there, right? Then you sub CJ in for Dame. Keep Trent in there. Then you sub Dame back in for Trent. You know what I mean? You just stagger it in a way. You just got to stagger it, you know?
You should have them... I wish they would try this more often where you give people... Like, you don't play Dame like the whole first quarter. You take him out like for a few minutes and then put him in and then take him out and then put him in instead of just playing him like 12 minutes at a time. And then you get situations where if he plays the whole second half, then he's playing 40 plus minutes. I just think it does complicate things a little though, because Stotts won't change how he rotates Dame out, so it's going to make it difficult to sub all of them without another guard to play with that lineup.
Yeah, makes sense. So anyway, that's the lineup I hope we go with. I would like to see them maybe experiment with trapping Harden because we've seen that it works. We've seen that it has worked on him. So if we don't at least try it for stretches tomorrow, I'm going to be perplexed, and I will complain about it. Maybe not even like do it the whole game. Switch up your looks though. Switch up your looks, right? You can't let James Harden walk off the screens for threes.
We absolutely cannot let Westbrook get easy baskets in transition either. He likes to grab rebounds and go coast to coast, and we've had a very bad problem of getting back on defense. We saw it in the Celtics game where there were several times, even on made baskets, they pushed the ball up the court and got an easy dunk or lay-in because we were not getting back on defense. We we definitely have to keep them out of transition because they like to push it and creates a little bit of chaos and have the defense not set so they get open threes. And D'Antoni likes to shoot fast. So we have to be better at getting back on defense, and we have to find a way to use our size to our advantage instead of a disadvantage. It's easier said than done when you play a team like Houston, but there's got to be ways you can exploit having a talented big guy like Nurkic versus a lineup like that, both offensively and defensively.
Yep. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. When is the tip-off?
6, I think.
We'll see what happens. I didn't even get through all the NBA scores. Let's finish up the NBA scores and I'll sign off. The Pacers beat the Wizards. Pelicans beat the Grizzlies, which I was rooting for the Pelicans. Yep. Chad Doing must be listening to me because he said he was rooting for the Pelicans as well for the same exact logic that I gave. Which was their chances to make the playoffs go up so much by getting the 8th seed that I'd rather, we're going to have to play well to make the playoffs anyway. So let's just have the Grizzlies lose where they fall back to the pack and we have a legit shot at 8th, instead of settling for a battle for 9th. So that's why I wanted the Grizzlies to lose, and they're 0-3 and their schedule only gets tougher. They legitimately might go like 1-7. They are struggling right now. They played their best game against us. Shake Milton hit a game-winning 3 against the Spurs, which was huge because the Spurs passed us up. But I don't know. I'm surprised at how well the Spurs are playing. They had 43 in the fourth, which is insane. You had 30 from DeRozan. You had 24 off the bench from Rudy Gay, which are kind of like their top 2 scorers probably. Derek White's the good scorer as well. He had 20. 13 from DeJounte Murray. 15 off the bench from Keldon Johnson, the rookie, finally getting some playing time and had a good game today. 15 points in 22 minutes. They played Quindary Weatherspoon 19 minutes.
Actually had a decent game.
Yeah, Drew Eubanks.
At least defensively, yeah.
Yeah. Weatherspoon was 1 for 2 in 19 minutes, so didn't shoot much, but had 3 assists, had a couple boards, had a steal and a block. Drew Eubanks, they're playing him. Their lineup doesn't look good on paper, but they're playing Tyler Zeller. I forgot they signed Tyler Zeller. So, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty crummy lineup, but it's Greg Popovich, you know what I mean?
Hey, you can't do anything against a team like Philly when you have that personnel.
Yep. I mean, granted, the Sixers did score 132 points, but, offensively, the Spurs had 130 points with that lineup. A lineup of Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Lonnie Walker, DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl. I guess DeMar DeRozan is the power forward.
Yeah, that's what someone
and then
said,
off the bench, they got like Drew Eubanks, Tyler Zeller, Keldon Johnson, Quindary Weatherspoon, Patty Mills, Rudy Gay. Like, if that was Stotts' lineup, they probably lose by 20, and then everybody's saying, "Oh, what can Stotts do? He can't do anything," right? So that's why Popovich is so great, man. So for the Sixers, you had Embiid with 27, Tobias with 25. Ben Simmons is super overrated. He had 8 points, 5 assists in 25 minutes. I am not a Ben Simmons fan. He did foul out as well. You had Josh Richardson with 19. Furkan Korkmaz had 12 off the bench.
Embiid missed a free throw late too. That would have tied it. And then
good old Shake Milton, man.
They fouled, and Derek White only hit 1 of 2, putting them up 2. And then Milton hit the 3, and then yeah.
Good old Shake Milton, which that was a complete defensive breakdown from the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
From the Spurs. See, that was one guy making a mistake where it's like, I know Popovich didn't want that to happen, and you had that guy guarding the inbounder was trying to help onto Embiid, and he just poor positioning, overhelped on that play. Shake Milton hit a deep contested 3 though, so I mean that's probably, if you're San Antonio, you probably live with that shot compared to them just throwing it into Embiid and Embiid scoring or something like that. Definitely a bit of a defensive breakdown though. It's funny because like I'll say stuff like that, and it's like I know that there's people out there that'll be like, "See, look, Popovich's teams have defensive breakdowns, and people don't hate Popovich." It's like stuff like that. So I always feel like I have to preface it by saying, "Do you know what I mean?" Like, God, it's ridiculous.
But like the Spurs are 2-1 and almost beat Philly tonight. in the bubble so far, and everyone had written them off as they weren't going to do anything. Probably would be one of the worst teams in the bubble since Aldridge wasn't playing. And they're competing almost should be 3-0 right now and ahead of us in the standings.
Yep.
And yeah, you can't say anything bad about coaching.
Trade Stotts and Swanigan for Pop. I wish. I know you're a 49ers fan, but Seahawks fans are in the same boat with Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson carries him enough to where he looks like a good coach, but in reality, he has so many flaws and outdated coaching. I can see that. If you have a quarterback like Russell Wilson, you're going to look pretty good offensively because he just makes so many things happen. And a lot of freelance stuff, too. Like, you can have something completely fall to crap, and you'll have Russell Wilson just go on his own and freelance and create plays with his legs and just carry that offense. Kind of like Dame, how Dame will just do, freelance and do what Dame does and carry the Blazers offense on his back. So I could see that. I don't really pay enough attention to the Seahawks to really judge coaching, but I could see how that could possibly be the case. Yeah. Anyway, I got to bounce. Actually, do I have an order? Maybe I'll wait for an order. I don't even want to do it right now, but I fell behind today. Today was hella slow.
Hopefully we have a great Blazers win to talk about tomorrow night.
That game is 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
Damn, that's late. I don't like having it at 6 p.m. Honestly, you know what? I was complaining about how the games were earlier in the day, but it's better for me.
Yeah.
Working because the deadest times
are
between
time.
2 and 5. I hate trying to deliver between 2 and 5, bro. Mm-hmm. Today I sat for 40 minutes waiting for an order. I got a couple that were just awful that I didn't take. It sucks. Mm-hmm. Which I should bring my laptop with me and maybe I could actually work on some other YouTube stuff while I sit there and wait all day. I just wish my coffee shop was open because I could go in there while I'm waiting. It would kind of be weird to walk in there then walk out 5 minutes later with a laptop and everything, but so I do like it, but that sucks. Tomorrow that's at 6 because that's during the dinner rush, but oh well. I definitely got some money to make up. So that's why I gotta go drive right now, which hopefully I don't get any sketchy apartments. Dude, I delivered to an apartment yesterday that was so sketchy. It reminded me of a prison. It was 1 a.m. and it was a square of houses.
Yeah.
Where the doors were on the inside of the square, and it was just a full cement courtyard. And just there was I could hear people on the balconies I don't know, it was 1 a.m. and then some guy walked out to the parking lot right behind me after I delivered. Yeah, it was sketchy. Because you also have to remember I have to find the apartment number, so it's not where I just go straight up to an apartment and I'm good. No, I have to go close to the doors and look at the apartment numbers to make sure I have the right one. Mm-hmm. It's kind of scary, not gonna lie. Maybe I'm being a little too paranoid, but
I mean, 1 a.m. outside, yeah, it's never.
Yeah, no.
Be careful.
I accepted an order from a guy named Pray Man. I did not end up. I unassigned myself from that order, which I'm sure it's just his name or whatever. It was I don't know, ethnic name, but Pray Man in the middle of the night. Nah, I'm not trying to be Pray Man. Nope. No, thank you. Yeah. So anyway, I definitely like delivering to, I don't know, this might sound bad, but I definitely like delivering to nice, well lit up neighborhoods in the middle of the night compared to apartment complexes.
Sherman's asked how you decide which orders to take. I'm sure it's based on location and amount of money you make from it, right?
Mm-hmm. During the day, it depends on the restaurant. How fast might they have the food ready? If they're a restaurant that usually has the food ready right away compared to me having to wait 15 minutes, then, that's a big difference because basically you get paid every delivery. So as soon as you finish one, the sooner you can get on to the next one and make more money. So it's just all about speed. So that depends on the distance you have to drive depends on if that drive is like along the freeways or like along side streets. I'd rather drive 9 miles on a freeway than 6 miles on side streets. Depends on if I can tell it's to a house instead of an apartment complex. I'm more likely to take that order because I know the house will be a lot easier to find compared to like a random apartment number. So I won't have to waste as much time. What else is there? You also get a total amount of money that you can't make less than, but you might make more than. So if it says I'll make $7, I might make 7, I might make 10, I might make 20. You know what I mean? If the cents are weird, like $7.08, then I'm more likely to take it than if it's $7.25, because if it's not like if it's like a random amount of cents, it's more likely that that the payment is like 8 or 9 or 10, whereas $7.25, it's more likely that it's like actually $7.25, if that makes sense. So fastest restaurant to order from. Fastest restaurant kind of depend. I don't know, like every restaurant has its good and bad moments. Chipotle can be pretty fast. There's an Italian place that normally has the food ready downtown. Restaurants are faster than you expect. Applebee's is actually phenomenal. Almost always have the food ready. Same with Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo's probably my favorite because if I do have to wait, I can watch a game now. So I walked into Buffalo today for like 30 seconds, Eric. Mm-hmm. Saw one play.
I saw your
George the missed a 3. I don't know if did you watch that game?
No, I didn't see any of it.
If anybody watched that game, it was the play where he was in transition and the pass was bad or something. And he went and tracked it down and dribbled out to the corner and then shot a 3. It was like the one play I saw. Of course, it's George Niang missing a 3 because that guy always misses threes whenever I watch. So I thought that was funny. Of course. So yeah, at night though, it's only McDonald's and pick up through drive-through. So it's basically all about drop-off location and the money, how much the offer is.
Do you ever get to a point where you go through the same drive-through 5 or 6 times in a couple hours, and people are like, "Oh, hey, you again"?
Yeah. Nobody has said "Hey, you again," but I know they probably thought it because last night I went through one 4 times in 2 hours. But normally I just kind of bounce around different McDonald's. Shoot, I'll get a McDonald's 10 miles away at night if there's not enough drivers. So, but yeah, I've delivered for the same customer 4 times in the last week. Twice in the middle of the day, twice in the middle of the night. Just this really nice house. I don't know. And it's been different names. There's houses that I recognize now. There's probably about 30 different houses that I've delivered to multiple times. So yeah. So I'm actually starting to recognize addresses if I've delivered it there a bunch.
Yeah.
It's also nice because I don't have to worry about them trying to scam me or them trying to pull. They know what, the other night I had, it wasn't somebody trying to scam me, but had this lady that put in her house, had her house address, and I guess she was at a hotel, but her house address was in there. So I went, dropped it off at her house. This was in the middle. This is actually it was 11 at night. I can actually show offers. Holy hell, I've literally never gotten an offer where I've had to drive this long. And I've gotten 3,000 offers. Yeah, no. I don't know if you can see how far that is, but I'm not going to drive 27 miles for $14. So that's something I'm going to decline, especially because it's Taco Bell. And I don't want to place an order. That's another thing is if you have to place an order, I don't like doing that. Taco Bell, I've never picked up from there for that reason. They had me driving out to Camas. But yeah, there's a hell no on that one. Work vlog tonight. I do have unlimited data right now, but I'm not trying to make our data slower, because like at a certain point it gets slower. That'd be kind of fun to do, but delivery at 2 a.m. Damn, how late is it? It's 12:42 where I'm at. I'm just waiting for delivery. I'll probably sign off in 5 minutes, even if I don't get one, and drive to where I'm closer. But the fact that I just got one all the way over there is kind of confusing. Telling me to deliver to freaking Washougal. Hell no. It's like halfway to the gorge. It's a lot of fun, though. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, the other night I had somebody put in the wrong address, her house address. She was at a hotel, right? I dropped it off. She called me annoyed that I dropped it off at the address she gave, and she said she changed her address. She didn't change her address. She made the mistake of accidentally putting in her house address. I even offered to go. I'm like, oh, I'll go back and grab it and take it to where you're at, which I shouldn't do. I don't have to do. But she was still annoyed at me, like, oh, I'll just get my son to get it. Like, how are you going to be annoyed at me when you gave me the wrong address and I delivered it to that address? She could have texted me. She could have called me that, hey, I'm at this address, or I'm not at, or I had to change my address. I don't know if it showed up in there, but I'm actually here, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, she didn't even try and contact me, didn't try and say anything, didn't change the address, said she did, and then got mad at me when I delivered it to the wrong address. Like, seriously? That type of shit is just like... It's annoying because I get stressed. What if she says it's not there? Then I might get trouble in DoorDash. But it's like I did deliver it and take a picture of it at that address, so I shouldn't get in trouble. It's just annoying. It's stressful. Yeah. I would love to get a good order right now. God, man. Normally I easily get one when I'm streaming, but
yeah.
You want to get off? You gotta get up early.
Yeah.
All right, you're getting into that mode where you act like you're half dead. So.
Well, it was like 5 minutes ago. You said you were gonna end it, and I was like, okay.
Well, just say something, bro. This is why I don't get about Aaron chat. He just has to say something. That's it.
It's not bad. I mean, I'll chill with chat. We still have 25 people watching. I just was in mode okay, Tori's gonna sign, because the last couple streams you've just got a DoorDash right away and signed off,
Bro, I'm ready to go right now too, man.
So I just got in that mode when you said you were looking for an order. So it wasn't anything about the stream being bad or me being tired or whatever. I was just yeah.
Am I hiring for what position? What do you mean, TL? Have a nap on stream. We should do a 24-hour stream at some point. Maybe during the off season.
Yeah.
For charity or something.
Draft or...
No, I wouldn't want to do it anything even related to basketball, because I want to put in my focus on that. It would be fun to do a 24-hour stream. I sleep when Eric's awake. I could switch it over to Skype. Go to bed when Eric wakes up. I don't know. The thing is, people only do those for charity, so we'd have to align with the charity, and who knows if we'd even... I don't even know. It was just, I've always wanted to try it, but the thing is, you're supposed to stay up the whole time, and that's rough. So, but
Destrom, what's up, man? If you missed this stream, I think you definitely, as a regular, want to go back and see. We actually broke down some film earlier, talked about some other stuff.
Yeah, I want to. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think knowing some of you guys like Destrom, and I would think you would appreciate this stream if you went back and watched it.
Yeah, well, I want to take some clips from this and post it to Facebook, post in response to Chad, and, clips on certain topics, little short clips that people will watch, which I'll probably forget. I just wish there was an easy way to do it while I'm streaming, but I did write down some timestamps. So I will download it and put it in, if I remember. I might be too tired after work. I might just want to die on my bed,
Yeah, we're diehard 49er fans. We know Kendrick Bourne is from Portland.
Oh. Yeah, I heard somebody somebody was telling me they saw.
Did you see we signed Jake Reed today to Jake Reed?
Is that? No, his name's...
Or, what's his name? Something Reed. Why am I blanking on his name?
I'm blanking on his name now. Jordan Reed.
Jordan
I probably
Reed,
would have
yeah,
remembered that, but when you said Jake, it
Yeah.
threw me for a loop.
Sorry.
Yeah, hey, if he's like, we can afford, like, if he gets hurt, it doesn't really hurt us. But, like, as a second tight end with Kittle, that's kind of insane, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Which we lost, like, Deebo Samuel won't be, like, ready off the bat, so we kind of needed another pass catcher. So I like that signing.
Mm-hmm.
Bargain contract, and if he plays, he's still very talented. Don't you hate him, though?
Jordan Reed?
Yeah.
Why would I hate him?
Oh, maybe it was somebody else. I thought you, like, had, like, just hated him for some reason.
Yeah, he gets hurt a lot. And it's frustrating when you have him in fantasy and he'll have.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like, you'll cut him because he doesn't play, and then he'll come back and have like 3 touchdowns, and then
Bro,
you're like, ah!
I had him get ejected during a fantasy football playoff game. He got ejected for punching somebody's helmet. During the fantasy football playoffs for me. Okay, so yeah, I've hated him for fantasy reasons too. That shit pissed me off. Like, why would you punch a dude in his helmet, bro? You're gonna hurt yourself more than you're gonna hurt him. It doesn't make sense. Like, it literally logically doesn't make any sort of sense. And gets ejected. Yeah.
Aren't you supposed to rip the helmet off and hit him with it?
Yeah, right. God. As a number one, he's way too injury prone to rely on as number one. As a number two, I think he's phenomenal. Just because you don't have to rely on him. B, he's not going to play as much, so he's probably going to stay healthier. And C, that pass catching as a number two tight end is like, he's like the best number two tight end in the league, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, if he can't get on the field, we don't really owe him anything, so we just cut him.
God, Kittle and him, bro. That's like Gronk and Hernandez on the football field. You know, not all. You know, which
I'm just worried about his concussion situation. I'm dreading seeing a big hit or something and him taking another one to the head. That
wouldn't be good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be good, but it's kind of dope to have that level of talent at tight end.
Oh, absolutely. So,
because like talent wise, he's a lot better than a lot of people's number one tight end. So, that's gonna be fun. Just want Deebo back because I am in love with Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is like the 49ers Gary Trent for me. Just like kind of like the attitude they play with too, like relative to their sport, of course, but like, you know, young guy and just a hard-nosed dog, you know, just goes in there, plays their ass off, and just super fun to watch.
Oh, get out of here with Will Dissly. Yeah, he's had like 3 or 4 good games, but hasn't been on the field the rest of the other. Man.
I was wondering if a Seahawks fan was going to name drop their tight end, which I couldn't even remember who it was until I heard Will Dissly, because they don't have anybody that's that notable at tight end, because Will Dissly is not that good.
Zacho, did you just join the stream too? What's up, man?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh yeah, they have Greg Olsen now.
I don't hate DK Metcalf.
He's just really old.
Oh yeah, Greg Olsen. I don't hate DK Metcalf. I just don't think he is the 81st best player in the league. And Seahawks fans overhype the hell out of him. Doesn't mean I hate him.
49ers aren't even a real threat. You guys always chalk at the last minute. Okay, I don't know what chalk means, but
that was the dumbest thing I've heard all stream over. Oh, sorry, man.
Oh,
but
wait, I seem to recall like the last play of the game, the Seahawks not getting over the line to score a touchdown.
You talking about the Super Bowl or Week 17 last season?
Yeah, like Week 17, they didn't choke when they stopped your boy from crossing the goal line and got the number 1 seed.
And that was a rookie that made that play. A mid-round draft pick rookie that made that play for us. So, yeah. Y'all should know better than to talk trash to me and Eric about the 49ers. Like, y'all, you know, we're all Blazer fans, so we don't have that. But, like, you guys should know you can't... me and Eric, me and Eric on the same team in an argument is not good for whoever's arguing us. So you don't want to be talking trash about the 49ers because that's the situation you're going to end up in, and that is just not a good situation for you to be in.
The other thing is, too, I know you're not necessarily this way, but I have been alive for all 5 of the 49ers Super Bowls, and you guys have only been alive for 1 Seahawks Super Bowl because that's all they've ever won. And no Seahawk fan, after throwing an interception on the 1-yard line in a Super Bowl game at the end, should talk crap about any other team choking ever. So
yeah, come on. Yeah, we're talking to Alvaro because he said the Niners just choke at the end and they aren't a real threat. That's what we're responding to, Shervins.
So yeah, don't be talking about the Niners choking.
Yeah, come on.
That was like the ultimate choke in the history of football. And you guys, you're gonna talk crap about us losing to the Chiefs, who have like a tremendous offense, and it's hard to keep.
And who did that to like every team in the playoffs. Yeah. Christian Woods responded day 35, trying to get Christian Woods to respond. Well, congratulations.
To you, Trevin, or someone else?
I'm guessing it's to Trevin. Yeah, man. Alvaro, don't be talking about choking, man. Don't be doing that. Tori, you should drop like 2 BLM Blazers Uprise shirts or hoodies. I feel like the style would look really good. Yeah, I'd feel weird like I wouldn't want to like profit off that movement.
Yeah.
You know. So, and and I could like donate the money. I don't know. I don't think like my merch doesn't sell that much. I think I've sold like 3 pieces of merch in the last 2 months. So people don't really buy my merch to be.
Well, that was, who knows what would have happened if you had merch and we were doing these post-game streams after the Western Conference Finals runs of last year, I think it would have been a lot better. But yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. Because like, look at our Discord was popping off today. There were so many comments. Like at one point, there was like over 100 comments unread, and I had only been gone for like an hour or something.
I haven't paid enough attention.
Yeah, they were talking about all the in the NBA, around the NBA page.
And it's people that weren't even in our mock off season, so that's dope.
Yeah.
I need to post in there more. I'm gonna make that my mission. My mission. I just be working all the time, you guys know how it is. Yeah. I'm gonna get off here at 1. If I don't have an order, I'm gonna go drive closer. I guess it just normally I get 1 at night by now, or I'll get off now because actually I want to stand up for a second. I sit for so long it gets uncomfortable. And it's hot as hell in here, which is kind of weird, but oh man. So Saturday, let's see schedule. So Saturday I plan on going to the beach after that post-game show. Might run that post-game show a little short. Might only run it for like an hour.
I could take over too if you want me to.
You just love doing solo streams. I said this when you were gone. No, I'm just giving you crap. I'm just teasing you. I
actually just like being on stream and hanging out with people and stuff. I just don't want you to feel like you have to end it short if you want to leave if it's popping up or whatever.
Yeah, I mean we'll see. It depends on if we win or not, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like I'll probably just only have it an hour. I mean we have a game the next day too, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So I'll probably only have it be an hour. I said this when you were gone. I said, in 2020, you've probably done more solo streams than I have.
Yeah.
You've done like 3?
I think so.
Maybe 4. I might have done 1. Yeah. Yeah. So you've been here. I don't think you might not have missed a stream all year. I have. That's what's crazy.
I'm dedicated. I missed the the Ariza trade stream, and you did like I think you did. We did a Melo signing like show, but I think you did like a quick live thing right when it happened.
I did like a 15-minute live thing before Rec League and had like 300 some viewers and got off, which was insane. Which rest in peace to my Rec League. I missed that.
I tried to come on the Ariza stream from work, but it was not working very well. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna like try and like DoorDash for an hour and a half after that post game show. Then I'm gonna drive to the beach because my family's going down there from Friday to Monday. I'm gonna try and just go down there and then drive back before that Blazers-Sixers game. DoorDash a little bit before that, an hour and a half before that Sixers game, and then we'll do that post game show. I might have that post game show only go like an hour and a half for that one.
Yeah. So if you're not back in time, I can run the post game.
Well, I'm trying to get back before the Blazers-Sixers game starts, so have some leeway. But that is the Sunday dinner rush.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't. Like I said, I'm here for you. Whatever you need me to do, I'm just trying to do what's best for the channel. I'm not trying to like take over or say that I like solo streams better. I just want there to be streams.
No, I'm just teasing you.
I know.
I understand where you're at with that. I just wish I had my own place. I'm tired. I'm chasing this damn proof of income. Made $1,200 last week. Now I gotta make $1,200 this week with a day that I'm like barely gonna make any. So that's gonna be hard. And over $1,200 the next week, so I can try and have enough income to rent something that's $2,000 a month. Because I got a lot. Let's see here. Let me do some math. I got like 8,000 saved. I shouldn't even be talking about like my financial situation because then people are like, "Why the hell would I donate to you?" Anything you guys donate, I pour back into the channel. So. Which I didn't used to, but now that I actually make money, anything you guys donate, I have things that I like. And not even for the website, right? I'm not saying, oh, well, the next $1,000 I get donated will go towards the website because I'm spending $1,000 on a website to have it launched by September 20th. I just have like plans for a studio once I move out, so everything you guys donate to me, I'm putting towards that studio, and it just helps me out, helps make things a little bit easier for me trying to do that. And I try and give back to you with the membership perks and all that. I know there's a couple things I got to do for that this month, like screensavers and that stuff, which I'll do, and then the watch party, that type of stuff. So, and I love, I love the showing of love, you know what I mean? I appreciate all you guys that donate and help out and that type of stuff. But yeah, no, so I got, geez, my math is so bad. So there's we're going to get a second stimulus check, right?
I don't know if that's officially it or not.
I do expect it, not going to lie.
I'm not sure, yeah.
So I got like, counting that, I got, I'm not even going to talk about it. Basically, I have enough saved to be able to like comfortably handle renting something like that, even if I like don't make enough income. Like I got enough saved, and I'm trying to sell 2 cars right now. If any of you guys want to buy a car, hit me up. Like for around $2,000 to $2,500, a truck or a car. Because I got a gift for my birthday that was like a car that like my mom bought for really cheap. My uncle helped fix it up, but it's like way too small for me. They got the wrong specs on it. So I got a car for my birthday, which was like the best present I've gotten. But like my head, my head can be like down with my chin in my chest, and my head will still be on the ceiling, type of thing. Like it was awkward to like be like, yeah, this is way too small for me to drive 8 hours a day.
So if you're short, buy Tori's car.
Yeah, if you're like 6 feet or under. It's a Honda. It's a pretty sick car. Had good work done on it. So if you guys are interested. Yeah, so like I'm not really worried about like having money saved. Like I have enough saved. It's like about trying to make enough over the course of a month, maybe a little bit more, to be able to show to somebody who's renting out a house or a company that's renting out a house as proof of income where I can prove that I make enough to meet their requirements, if that makes sense. So that's why I work so much, and I got stuck behind a couple weeks, made under 1,000. So I'm behind on that. Last week had a decent week. This week I'm already kind of behind today. So
what's up, TR? Wouldn't be a stream without coming in here late saying you're still streaming.
Oh, I missed the delivery. I wonder if it was good. Damn. Which means I'll probably get another one soon, to be honest.
Yeah.
Why'd you quote my tweet? When did you do that? Oh, you did that yesterday. Okay. I got a notification. Oh, come stream with us. I still have the schedule up, don't I? Yeah, I'm going to try and go down to the beach and come back Sunday.
Yeah.
I figured that's like the best, I figured it worked with our streaming schedule the best. Because that early game on Saturday.
Yep. All right. Well, now that it's after 1, probably head up.
Yeah. I know you.
Once again, happy birthday, Trevin.
I know you want to ditch all our fans, man. You just want to leave these guys here with nothing to do in the middle of the night.
You're the one who has actively been trying to leave for the last hour.
I want to hang out with my friends, and you're saying no.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it, man. I don't want to work, bro. I'm stalling because I don't want to go drive right now. Oh, shit. I really don't. Like, I need, like, a good order to be like, okay, I'm going to go take this and go.
Yeah.
But, all right, 105. Promise, swear, 105. It's 103. So once it hits 105, we out. It's 104. All right, so I guess I should start signing off. Tori said the stream would end soon, like an hour and a half ago. Hey, I've been ending streams like when I say I'm going to end them lately. I've been ending streams like without even a warning. Like, oh, I got to get ordered by.
Okay.
So.
Let's break down this game. Well, okay, gotta go by. As you're like putting your shoes on and like
bro, that order I got was like right by my house, 2 miles for like $10.
Oh.
And
you need a band Destro?
My car battery was dead, bro. My car battery was dead, so I had to like unassign myself. Man, see, like I ain't doing that, bro. I'm getting crap right now. Anything under 6, I'm not doing. I'm not gonna wait in the drive-through right now for anything less than 6 bucks. So, yeah, no thanks. So
later,
anyway,
Amara.
Had to drop
later,
the
Malcolm.
ban hammer on Destrom. I banned him. It kind of hurt.
Later, Shervins. Later, Chris. Later, Trevin. Have a good birthday. Later, Destrom. Even though you're just talking about being a Laker fan.
I'll see you guys later. It kind of sucks because I'm gonna stream like another 2 hours. But if you guys are done, then I'll catch you later. I'm streaming till 3 a.m. So, right, Eric?
If you want.
You would not, bro. You would not make it till 3, bro. You'd be like, you know what? I'm freaking done with you. I'm gone. You would not stay up till 3.
I could make it.
He says, is he like, okay.
I don't want to like I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean there's plenty of times when I do want to, but my situation's pretty messed up right now, and it's gonna be a really tough couple days ahead of me. And so.
Trevor says I'm physically incapable of leaving until the stream ends. So am I.
Yeah, me too.
That's funny though. Anyway, I'll catch you later. I might rant about working on Twitter, so keep me company over there. And we'll be live tomorrow with the post-game show at 8:30. We'll be probably in a Twitter war as Houston drops 25 million threes on our head. So you can catch me on Twitter at ToryJonesYT. I don't know why I haven't switched it off the schedule yet, but our Twitter tags, if for whatever reason you're in here at this time and you're not following me or Eric, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're in here watching us at
Yeah,
1 in
all
the morning, but
17
can't leave
of
us a
you
follow. So yeah. Malcolm says end the show, and he is a channel member, so he does have some authority over me. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully the Blazers pull it out. This would be a huge game for them to get. Malcolm says, Tori, you don't follow me.
My boy Malcolm?
Is his name Malcolm Bunyoli on Twitter, or is it something else?
I don't think it's Bunyoli, but I think it is.
What's your Twitter at? I'll follow you. Drop it, Malcolm. Drop it, and then I'll end the show. If you don't have Twitter, that's understandable. I'm saying if you got Twitter and don't follow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That game is going to be interesting tomorrow. I think Houston wins by 10 because we can't guard the 3-point line. I don't think we're going to take advantage of our size as well as we could, So, and we don't have anybody to put on Harden. I expect Harden to kind of go off. I'm kind of pessimistic going into this game, but hopefully I am wrong. Hopefully we get that dub. Malcolm is the GOAT. I will leave you a follow right now.
You don't follow Shervins either, man? Gosh.
Man, I don't really like...
I follow all you guys, see?
Oh my god. And all these graphics in this stream, man. That's what I don't follow you. That's my contribution. I'd get too distracted by putting together content.
I was just thinking though, I was telling Tori before this stream that it would be so much nicer if we knew like some of the Twitter people if they were the same, because like it's the same thing with Discord. Like half the people that comment, I have no idea who you are from YouTube chat.
Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to know.
Shervins, let me find Shervins. Shervins F0 follows me. Yeah, I just, as stupid as it sounds, I don't want to look like those sellouts that like follow 15,000 people and have like 1,000 followers.
You know what I'm annoyed with right now?
What?
The plug ones, where you have to like retweet and like everyone's tweet. That's part of it.
Don't follow people that post that stuff, man. I try not to, or I mute them. Do you know you can mute people on your timeline?
Yeah, I know that, but like people that I do follow retweet it and crap, and it's just so ridiculous. Yeah.
I do try and follow anybody that consistently is in chat.
I just don't get, because like, I mean, I guess I'm a bad example because I don't care.
Yeah.
But, like, you're not earning likes. Like, I would rather have like 10 likes on a post than get like 50, but it's because 48 of them were because like it got liked by the 50 people who were in the plug chat or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I feel that.
Like that doesn't even feel like, why would you feel good about that? Like, it's not like you accomplished anything. You were just a part of a group that liked all your posts. So
yeah.
That doesn't mean people actually liked your post, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about plug chats and how stupid they are.
Yeah. Anyway, I followed you guys. Dude, Blake's following me on Twitter. They used to follow me on the account that I used to use. But I made a new Twitter account when I started doing YouTube, so and now it's my main.
They don't follow us because we're too negative now.
If I kiss Terry Stotts' ass, I might have more followers than I do now, but whatever, you know. We'd probably have 30 people here instead of 17, but...
Trevin, I understand that helps spread the tweets, but that's my point. You're doing it, like, fakely. It's not legit.
Yeah,
like,
you're chasing clout.
Right. Yeah, I would rather just have a tweet blow up because it was a good tweet, not because... oh, look at all this work I did and to get all these people to like me, even though they didn't even give a crap about what I was posting or what.
And it's not unique. It's just recycled BS. Like, you don't see, like, I don't know. Like, I get it if, like, somebody's, like, 16 doing that. Whenever I see, like, somebody that's, like, 25 doing that, I cringe. It's just cringy to me. So, okay. Okay, it's time to end the stream.
Yeah.
Shervin's is tripping, man. Is that like your clout chasing tweets? Is that what we should be tweeting out? The thing is, people would automatically know we're being sarcastic if we tweeted that. So.
Well, and two, like, I mean, there's a million of those accounts too. Like, I don't mind being known as the Stotts haters. I do mind like when guys like Casey Holdall, who, by the way, never said shit to me after calling me out on Twitter. I know you called him out. I'm not that petty to bring it up again, but I was right.
I'm being
Casey
petty?
Holdall. No, I'm not saying you're petty. Like you weren't involved as much as I was, so like it's fine for you to bring it up. But I didn't post him saying like, "Oh, you owe me an apology" or whatever. But that guy called me out and said I wasn't listening to what the Blazers were saying, and I told him I was, and you weren't the one listening. Like you should go back and listen. And he was wrong. And he told me it was just a scrimmage, and that even after saying that the minutes Zach played in a scrimmage mattered for some reason. But yeah, he didn't say shit to me after that. And in fact, I would rather have an apology for telling me, "Oh, I know better than to engage with you guys," when I was right in that situation and you were wrong, and you're not man enough to come and tell me, "Oh, sorry, man, my bad." Like, I shouldn't have said that. First of all, second of all, like you were right about the starting lineup, but whatever.
He would have a different attitude towards you if you were in person.
Right.
Like, I'm just saying, man. And the thing is, a lot of the stuff that I'd, say on Twitter, I wouldn't be afraid to say to anybody in person, man. I wouldn't be afraid to say to anybody. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's funny because we're right, man.
I mean, you wouldn't say Stotts was trash to his face, but
not to Stotts, but like in terms of the media.
Oh, right.
In terms of the media, I'm not gonna be like an asshole to Terry Stotts if I meet him. Like, why would I be an asshole to him? There's no point.
But like,
what do I gain from it? You know what I mean? As far as the media, it's like, no, I'm gonna hold you guys accountable, and like, y'all know who I am. I know you guys know who I am. Y'all want to pretend like you know. Like you don't know who I am, you know what I mean?
Like if we ever get invited back onto the Chad Doing show,
probably not.
Probably not. But like, I know he was trying to think like he would clown us or like make us look stupid. But like
call into his post game show.
I know we wouldn't, but yeah.
maybe once I get my studio set up next season, I'll like after every game I'll call in. With like good mic setup and whatnot.
Live on the
stream, yeah.
We'll have it be a bit or whatever.
Bro. Dude, yes. Yes. Yeah. I wonder if there's a way I could like feed like your audio as well. Maybe. That would be dope, bro. That would be funniest. Well, and maybe it'd actually listen, and maybe we could actually like, go off a little bit and actually explain. I don't know. The thing is, I wouldn't want it to just be a short segment though, so I'd tell them like, "Hey man, we're gonna start calling in every post game show. All right, we want a little bit more respect than just like a random viewer that you listen to for 30 seconds and they're done talking. Right? Like, let's actually talk basketball. Have some diverse opinions on your show, man. Give us like good 5 minutes. We'll be streaming. We'll have a bunch of viewers of our own. Could be dope. I don't know. He probably wouldn't respond, to be honest. But if I DM'd him that, which is weird because he's reached out to us in DMs. I don't know. Or I could go up to his house. He lives like 5 minutes away from me. No, he like lives like in Salmon Creek, which is funny. Like his son goes to the high school I went to, and like there's people in my rec league that like know his son and shit. So I don't know. That'd be a fun post game segment. I want to like add segments and stuff. So that would be something fun. But anyway, we're out of here. I gotta go DoorDash.
Bye, everyone.
I'll catch you guys later. Until tomorrow, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.